For the first time, the inaugural Hate-Bit podcast, pissing in the live stream. Greetings, Hater Nation. I'm Yell Chaos. Joining me, as always, the amazing Alpha Omega Sin.
Form of Alpha Omega Sin. That's really about it.
The indestructible RazörFist.
Alright, now I can tell you people to fuck yourselves in real time. God fucking speed.
And the scholastic sainted Magnus.
I'm ready.
Welcome to our show. We got a great big show live for the first time ever. And like RazörFist said, we're going to tell you to fuck off in real time. We'll be taking your questions. We got a great big show planned for you today, so don't think we don't. Lots going on, so please stay tuned. And also, keep your comments to a minimum. Don't waste them because we might miss them because they move real fast here on the side in the comment section. So we're going to have Q&A sections, and I'll let you know when that's going to be. But before too long, I got to remind you that we will be pulling no punches tonight. So for those who are of the faint of hearts, it's over for you. So, the bitches must leave now.
I'm coming, Elizabeth!
Come on. Will you marry me? All right, it's time for the discussion, and we're going to discuss the most recent April Nintendo Direct. Can you believe it, my friends? A whole bunch of stuff. Now, the Sainted Magnus was not impressed because, I don't know, he's a cool guy or something like that. But all kinds of cool stuff in the Nintendo Direct. Sainted Magnus, what fucking problem did you have with the Nintendo Direct?
Well, let's just say the flagship console, the Wii U, did not get a fucking look in. That's my fucking.
Do you mean we've been sitting here debating on this for like the last 20 minutes, and that's all you had?
That's all I had. Well, you decided that I had something more than that.
Well, you're the one who said, well, it was a 3DS presentation. They did make that very clear. I agree with you that there's not a lot of love being paid to the Wii U, but I'm not going to defend Nintendo at all. Yeah, there should be more going on the Wii U front. I just hope that E3 is going to be all that everyone expects it to be.
Yeah, but there is one thing I did like about the whole thing, was Earthbound finally got announced as a Virtual Console title, so that means you don't have to go on eBay and pay 300 quid just for a fucking cartridge. You can actually buy it digitally for, I don't know, maybe £7 or £8 on the Virtual Console and play it for yourselves without spending a stupid amount of money. So anybody with at least a modicum of a brain cell would actually do that. Now, I know the comments are going to go fucking sick on what I'm saying, but oh well, I don't care. Fuck you.
Well, you're the Sainted Magnus. You're going to get told to fuck off anyways. That's just...
Oh, no.
You're going to get told to fuck off just for being British. We're going to be calling you Neville Chamberlain. It's going to be bad.
just call me Churchill. I'll be all right.
Oh, one thing I'll say about the Nintendo Direct thing. Dude, Nintendo Direct, granted, it was all about the 3DS. I guarantee E3, they're just like, alright, we're just gonna dump truck all the Wii U shit right there from now all the way through the holiday season up until the beginning of next year. So they were like, Limelight, and it's just Nintendo's fucking Direct thing. That's it. These motherfuckers are like, oh, why isn't there Wii U stuff? E3, man. Let them showcase their stuff on the grand stage for their fucking console, and that's what I think's gonna go now.
Although, I don't know, there was a brilliant article written by a loopy broad named Emily Rogers on Not Enough Shaders, and she was talking about how, Nintendo has this pattern where they just have a really weak, quarter one of the following year of the system's launch. They always have a really, really weak software lineup for some reason, and it's when that launch lineup is really bad is when the systems do really bad. Like the GameCube is the only system. Actually, the GameCube had more titles in quarter one of the following year than the Wii did, and it's like, guys, are we seriously going down this road again? Like, if the Wii U has less titles than the GameCube, then I'll go on record right now as saying the Wii U is dead in the water. I mean, that's fucked.
Well, I think that's a blatant generalization, actually.
Well, it's unfortunate, though. You got to think about it. That they were toting this Wii U, Project Cafe they started off with, then the Wii U for, we'll say nearly a year before the actual system was released. And then they released the system with such a lackluster launch and the follow-up They says, "Oh, we got over 100, 40 odd titles, for the release window, which we are putting up to March." And what have they had that's really been notable on the system? At least they would at least have 1 or 2 titles within that launch window that's you can say that is notable. And no, I'm not going to count Mario because it's a given. If you're going to have a Nintendo console, you have a Mario game. It's fucking science, and it's Nintendo science.
Well, you have to look at the patterns here. I mean, this is really what went on with the GameCube. Why? Because no third-party developers or publishers wanted to really work with it for one reason or another because of the difficulties they had with the N64. And now, suddenly, Nintendo decided to partner with all these publishers that fucked them over in previous years. They said, yeah, we're going to go forward with third-party development and publishing, and then, we're going to go after the hardcore gamers. And then all of those companies who stabbed them in the back about 10, 15 years ago, stabbed them in the fucking back on the grand stage again, which, in front of everybody, and everyone was fucking surprised.
And who didn't see that coming?
Well, Nintendo has...
I mean, I think the real story is Nintendo continues to have a really bad relationship with third-party developers. I mean, that's really been the narrative throughout, like, the last 10 years of Nintendo. They've had a really, really bad relationship with third-party developers. And they really, really, really needed to get that right with the Wii U, and they are in some ways, but there's just not enough software right now to really say that relationship is turned around, at least not in my opinion.
Yeah, but you can't say you're surprised because there's no fucking studios left to make games anyway. They all closed up around just in time for Christmas last year to not buy their kids anything. But that's the way the fucking world.
Yeah, but the thing is, look at every Nintendo console. One of the main facts is no matter what the fuck anybody wants to say, excluding the NES and SNES, the main reason why you picked up a Nintendo console was to get Nintendo brand games. Their first party software was the main point, that 75% of most of their fucking hardware sales were because of the first-party Nintendo software sales. And I'll go and include fucking Rare into that since they were like a big part of the reason why we all had a Nintendo 64. And it's the same exact reason why I got a Wii U, sitting right the fuck down there, is because I want the Nintendo brand games. Granted, there's some other titles sprinkled out here and there, but I really think that's going to go and pick up, because anytime that somebody was like painting doom and gloom while things go boom for Nintendo, they said it about the Wii, it came out fucking swinging. They said it about the DS, and that thing is supposed to be dead in the water, became one of the best-selling things ever. Said it about the 3DS, again, they righted that shit. The GameCube and Nintendo 64 kind of had the same exact thing going for it, but the GameCube did flounder pretty much the entire fucking time and came in third place. That's a fucking fact.
Well, and if you also look at it, you notice... go on.
No, I was just going to quip that, by the way, Doom and Gloom and Things Go Boom is now a single on iTunes, and you can purchase it right now and give Alpha Mason some fucking royalties.
We're not corporate whores, I swear it.
No, not at all. And also, we don't plug our merchandise. We don't make it, to where people spend money with us or anything.
Yeah, we only plug our bitches.
Look at this guy.
We only plug the slags, and no, we're not going to do it on camera. We have a separate website where we do that.
That one requires what's known as a membership.
And just so you know, yes, we put down tarp because shit gets messy.
It can, and it does. Now, let me tell you something. There was a lot that went on with the Nintendo Direct. There was a lot of coverage, of course, going on with what was on 3DS, and of course, the Year of Luigi continues. I'm a supporter of this Year of Luigi thing, but it seems really thin. I don't know why.
Luigi is like, okay, Luigi's Luigi, but still, Luigi is Luigi.
Yeah.
At least they're saying his name out loud.
It's like
a step in the right direction.
But if this doesn't work, we're never going to hear from Luigi again.
Yeah,
because they're putting a lot of steam behind this, and I think if this doesn't work, they're like, "Fuck it, Wario's a new part of Super Mario Brothers."
Dude,
I know. It's like saying this year I'm gonna get the silver medal. You know what I mean?
Yeah. It's like if Sega did exactly the same thing for Tails or Knuckles. To be fair.
You do not ever compare the two. You are out of your fucking mind. Okay? Do not compare Luigi, the guy with the longer jump, and the guy with the higher jump that can, get the bonuses that the little fat brother can't seem to manage. Don't Don't ever confuse him with that superfluous piece of fur, Tails.
Tails can fly, motherfucker, regardless
Tails
of
cannot
long
fly.
jump
Tails
or
can
high
get lost
jump,
and hover
whatever
around.
bullshit
Tails is like a
you can come
gnat.
up with.
Get the fuck out of here, you goddamn thing.
Oh,
Okay?
shit, you
Don't give me that
goddamn
fucking
piece of
bullshit,
American
okay?
bullshit. Come on, fuck off.
Tails would never make it to any fucking Hall of Fame as sidekicks. He's a sidekick in the same way like Shemp was a sidekick, okay?
I know he's a dumbass, but come on.
No,
Hey,
come on.
you called the Thunder Downer, now you've got it.
Now I'm picturing Luigi with the Shemp face when he needs cheese.
And ironing his own hand. But anyway, well, was anybody excited? Did anything good happen in the Nintendo Direct that I'm not catching on to? Because I had a good time. I thought it was quite good. But, you know.
Dude, fucking Link to the Past 2?
No shit, right? And, you know.
Dude, they could have said nothing there. They could have sat there with cricket sounds in the background and then just showed that footage.
Yeah.
My throbbing member was completely at attention. I was like, yes!
Oh, yeah. Reggie could have sat there in his underwear and just said it, and, of course, everyone would, you know, freak. And now, don't get me wrong. It looks like a fantastic game. But it's so surprising to me that, and you know, maybe I caught a mixed message or I'm out of line here, but Nintendo.
You're out of line.
Nintendo listened.
What?
They heard what the people said, and now dig this. Remember last year they were talking about they're making a game similar to A Link to the Past, and everyone's like, "Oh yeah, well we'll never fucking see that." And then we saw it. Like, wait, this doesn't happen.
It's not very often, you know, games companies actually listen to us. So
no, never.
I'll give him credit where credit's due, even though it's a very small modicum of credit. Sorry.
Well, go ahead. Saying you have to give them credit is not the same.
They listen. They listen. There we go. And it's monocle for Saint Magnus, you know.
Well, there you go. Now, RazörFist, did you catch any of that Nintendo Direct or any of the news related?
I did not, so I'm just kind of nodding in agreement.
Oh, okay. So you just over here like, okay, well, those guys watched it.
He's just sat there with a shit-eating grin going, yeah, I agree. Yeah.
He's just waiting until he's not on screen anymore. That way he can, like, eat a cookie or something.
Exactly.
Yeah. But, you know, now, Alpha Omegason, you and I were talking right before the show about Bravely Default.
Yep.
Now that's very exciting to you, right?
Dude, it was because of the fact that it kind of looks like the type of RPGs that they were putting out before they decided to get all fucking kooky and fucked up and retarded. And they were just like, oh, man, all right, let's make everybody look like a fucking hairdresser that sucks dick for a living. All right, let's go. So now we got a fucking RPG, and it was like...
Fire Emblem, is what you're saying.
Dude,
dudes are running around with sleeves on their heads, and I don't know what's going on.
The thing is, Bravely Default, I was excited about it until everybody was just like, yeah, that shit's not leaving Japan, and I was just all like, motherfucker, I'm gonna have the shit-eating face. I'm like, not happy at all. But then they said, yeah, it's coming to the West, and I was like, awesome, because since this doesn't have the name Final Fantasy, Square Enix might actually give a shit about it, since everything Final Fantasy related, they've been like, yeah, give it the fucking finger. 13 versus on. Oh, Type 0. I think everybody wants more Final Fantasy 13 sequels. Let's just pour them out everywhere. They've been selling really well, and people have loved them. Yeah, no.
You can tell just based on the Metacritic scores just how fantastic this game really is.
Yeah. I love games that are on auto the entire time, and the entire cast basically has a two-dimensional fucking personality. That's awesome. Makes
you don't like your game to be an auto-fellatio freak? No?
They have that?
Well,
Is
yeah.
that on the PlayStation 4? Is that what the PlayStation... See, that would be the selling point of the PlayStation 4 right there. It's a fellation feature. See, that's money well spent. You know, the funny thing was, and I've read a few of the comments, and don't get me wrong, you know, people are hitting all of us up on the Facebook and on the Twitter and so on, and I'm reading your comments, and from what I can tell, people were more excited about this fucking, like 9-second long snippet of Bravely Default than anyone gave a shit about anything Final Fantasy related in the last ever.
Yeah.
You know, so it's an interesting thing that, you know, people from, like, remember the PlayStation conference, you know, that thing we got shit all over for because we didn't like it, you know.
Because it was shit?
Yeah, no kidding. You know,
because they unveiled the world's first Romulan video game console,
and it's invisible too, stealth even.
That's the joke.
Yeah, I know. You know, and then we get oh god, I forget who just flew out from Square Enix, but they flew out to say, hey, we might bring out a game sometime.
Yeah, they were like.
And that must have cost thousands of dollars. That must have cost thousands of dollars to get those dudes halfway across the planet. Meanwhile, 9 seconds of cartoon and people are excited again. It's like, okay, wait a minute.
I can't imagine this guy resigned from his commission within a fucking month. I'm baffled.
I went to New York. It was terrible. We must leave the industry.
We had jack shit and we told people to anticipate something. Fuck.
We told them to get ready for what? We're partnering with Kiko Man for, saltier games. But all kinds of good stuff on the Nintendo Direct, at least I thought. I'm a big fan of the Mario vs. Donkey Kong series, so the Mario and Donkey Kong, excuse me, that's coming out. Did you see that one?
We have more Mario and Luigi love coming, too.
Say again?
More?
The Dream Team, yeah. I'm a fan of that series myself. Fantastic stuff. And now, because the game, I'm glad they showed more footage because from what I gathered, at least from when they first announced the game, it's like, okay, wait a minute. So the entire game, you tickle Luigi's nose, and then you win? There's not really a lot of explanation. So now at least there's more details on that front. And and then of course we got that Mario Golf for the 3DS is coming out eventually.
Another one.
No, well, yeah, but what's weird?
Another Mario Golf. How many Mario Golf titles does there have to be on the fucking 3DS?
Well, this will be the first one.
Yes, Alpha, I agree.
You're not paying attention.
30.
Wait, what time is it in England?
It's 1:30 in the morning.
Oh, because I would assume it was like 1999 there.
Shouldn't fucking Mario be on the senior tour by now, or?
Him and Chichi
I'm expecting the next Mario title is going to be Mario in a nursing home, or Mario with a Zimmer frame.
Dude, if they put Mario in a
Mario's
nursing home,
colostomy bag.
I want to be Mario in a nursing home coupled with Mario Party. So it's just like, you have to pick out the right pills or something. You fucking keel over and die. It'll be great.
Mario Bingo.
You know what? That'll actually. You know what? We can have that. We can have Mario in the fucking group home, and then we can have with Dr. Mario as well. So it's like medication time. It's medication time, and then Luigi is just like a thing of bones being dragged around.
We'll call it Myopic Mario. Is what we'll
Myopic
do.
Yeah,
I like that.
No, wait.
He'll be on the golf
cross.
course. He'll be putting. He can't putt because he's herniated, so he's just kicking the ball, and it'll be fantastic.
He'll be shooting it like a cue.
I like to think that Donkey Kong's head is going to end up just getting fucking decapitated, put up on a hunter's wall as a trophy.
No!
So that'll sit in the background the entire time.
It's about goddamn time. Find out.
I love Donkey Kong, but I'm just being realistic. In the future of it, Donkey Kong's not going to be big and strong enough to run away or throw fucking barrels anymore, and somebody's going to duck hunt his ass. They'll be like...
Yeah, like the dog's going to track him down, and then we'll find out Pauline's been working in a cat house.
Voice. He's going to have to use sign language. Do one of these. It's going to be fucked.
He'll be like Lou Gehrig and got to like shake the head. Oh wait, no, the head will be on the wall, so the head on the wall will just shake.
Dude, and when it shakes, coins come out. It'll be great. Out of the eyes, maybe a couple
and Diddy Kong will be an adult, so maybe you'll finally put on some fucking pants.
Yeah, and Daisy Kong, she doesn't. Wait, she didn't have pants either, did she?
Oh, Diddy Kong, she'll fall into porn. She'll be a heroin addict.
Well, dude, she has the fucking ponytails going on, or the pigtails, so it's already bicycle handles all the way. Get Max Hardcore up in that shit, wearing the cowboy hat.
Jesus Christ.
See, this is how it's done.
We should just rename this live stream the Express Elevator to Hell.
I think
hey, no, we'll be making a few stops before hell. Don't think.
Wait, what do you mean the express elevator to hell? Where do you think I record from every single fucking time? Welcome to the bowels of hell.
YouTube user Galaden says, yeah, Mario Golf's going to consist of him yelling at kids to get off his lawn.
Get off my lawn! Come on!
That'll be awesome.
Oh, wait. Mr. Soulbucket says, what about Yoshi? Well, there is a new Yoshi's Island coming to the Wii U, so we did get some Wii U love. Don't think we... What's your fucking problem with Yoshi's Island?
Another one?
Well, the last one was like 7 or 8 years ago.
No, once again, Yoshi's Island's been going on so fucking long. They should just rename Yoshi's Island fucking Boca Raton or some shit. Like, it's a fucking retirement community.
Del Boca Vista?
Del Boca Vista.
Del Boca Vista, is that where Yoshi's Island is somewhere in Del Boca Vista off the Florida Keys.
How about this? Okay, if everybody's
high
getting
Jewish population
Yoshi's
for some reason.
Why don't we combine Yoshi's Island with a Hudson game, because nobody gives a shit about Hudson apparently, and we could get Adventure Island and Yoshi, put them together, and it'd be fucking awesome. Fucking Master Higgins and shit, and Mario, love it. Oh man,
I hope he eats Master Higgins.
Dude, I fucking love it. Super Adventure Island, shit was amazing.
Yeah, but you know what? That dude sucks on a skateboard. Someone need to say it. All right.
Well, yeah, he definitely is not a skating guy champion.
Master Higgins looked like Fred Flintstone Jr. from the Flintstone Kids.
Dude, I like that his like lower jaw came out like this much further. He was like, this shit looked ridiculous.
Oh god.
So yeah, all kinds of fun on the Nintendo Direct, but RazörFist doesn't care, which means that's all for the Nintendo Direct coverage here by the Hate-Bit Podcast. We thank you for listening, and now it's time, the time you've been waiting for. It is time for the Q&A section. You guys have been talking to us about this for 3 seasons. Been going on for far too long, so now we're... Oh, see, there it was.
It's so long that Sainted Magnus turned Oriental.
Thank you for having the
and his face became shiny.
I found a new toy, and it's called a soundboard.
I know. We're gonna have to take it away from you soon.
Yeah. So if I find something boring, I'm just gonna go. There we go. If not, if I find it funny, it saves my catarrh-ridden lungs, so I'm okay.
I bet a lot of people wonder why we keep having you back. Anyway, this week's Q&A is brought to us by Monsanto.
I can answer this question now. That's why.
$100,000 handshake.
There you go. Anyway, this week's Q&A is brought to us by Monsanto because, let's face it, nobody hates humans more than Monsanto. So, guys, get your questions ready because whatever appears first in front of me here on the chat section on YouTube, I'm going to answer, or I'm going to send it out to the boys. So, hurry, now! Okay, RazörFist and Alpha need to do the fusion dance. That's not a question, but we thank you.
There we go.
Oh, we got a question.
There you go.
There you go.
Yeah.
Oh, that's right, that's right. Anyway, the Metal Otaku 26 says, does Sainted Magnus always wear aviators at 1:30 in the morning?
Yes.
Oh shit, we just got a fucking question bomb here.
I can answer that question right now. My eyes look like fucking panda's eyes, and I ain't not showing them online right now. Next question.
Bedroom eyes, and he just doesn't want to tell you.
Yeah, well, whatever you do, don't get close to the screen, because then we'll be able to see, you know, the script you're reading. Here we go. Zachary Chohon, or I don't know how that's pronounced, some Mexican word. He says, what do you guys think of the David Jaffe shit? Now, I was unaware there was some David Jaffe shit. RazörFist, you know usually what's going on with David Jaffe. What's with David Jaffe?
He's still running his mouth about how fucking he's a hot commodity. What did he say in his last interview, that he's like still a hot commodity? He explained why he's still a hot commodity in gaming. And it's like, guys, after Twisted Metal, you're not even a fucking hot potato. You're
the only reason he's a hot commodity is because people keep setting fire to him. That's the only reason it's a hot commodity. Other than that, nobody gives a flying fuck about what he thinks anymore.
I mean, aside from the fact that he's boinking Jade Raymond, he doesn't have much going for him, frankly.
Who isn't boinking Jade Raymond, though? Who isn't? Me? I'm not.
Well, apparently you're not.
Yeah, I'm not. Raise your hands if you're not boinking, Jay.
No, we're all hitting it.
Oh yeah, okay. Am I the only one?
Well, you know, we know that everybody has, except for Jim Sterling, because then she would have passed away.
Some mountains are not meant to be climbed. Well, there's the.
Well, actually, some caverns are not. Never mind.
Yeah, some caverns are not meant for spelunking.
We got another one here from Miss Jiff 2341, who says the stealth gaming genre, is it still going to be around in 10 years?
Yeah, absolutely.
Maybe.
Absolutely.
Maybe.
Well, I'm sure the genre will still be there, but will they still be horseshoeing it into adventure games?
Oh Christ.
They better not horseshoe into adventure games. You know, the stealth genre is its own fucking genre. I know recently all we've had, realistically, is Dishonored, but we've got Thief fucking 4 coming on the way. Yeah, the voice actor's wrong, but at least we've got Thief fucking 4. It's what, taking how long? 5, nearly 6 years? Just for a fucking sequel to the Thief, you know, Deadly Shadows? Which is, to be quite fair, one of the best Xbox games I've ever played.
By the time this game comes out, it will have been a decade between games.
Really?
There we go.
Wow. See, now, I have to imagine, I'm just going to, you know, I want to riff on this for a second. I think that the stealth genre was probably most popular. I think why Metal Gear Solid was so popular is because the stealth genre was popular with parents because it was go in your room and be quiet.
That's not true. The Splinter Cell Double Agent, I was playing it the other night. I was playing it last night, actually. And it's actually one of the latter games I own. The gunfire in that game, I don't know what the fuck is with the levels in it, but it's like, quietest game you've ever played, loudest game you've ever played, all of a sudden, like within the span of 3 seconds. So
well, yeah, every game that you play is loud because you're always shouting about communist fucks and so on.
It's true.
I heard you.
See, the one major issue with the stealth genre, which kind of fucking sucks, is a lot of times when you give like an everyday random fucking gamer, you know, a stealth game, like a pure stealth game, they complain the entire time that it's too fucking hard and they just want to shoot people. Yeah. I hear those two things said the entire fucking time, and it's like, so you want to play every other game, basically. You don't want a different experience, one that actually takes more finesse, more skill, and it's a different, unique experience. That's why I like those kind of games. You know, even the ones that aren't, like, super fucking great, I'm still kind of glad I'm getting a different experience. But people are like,
seriously.
Oh my god, sneaky, too hard.
I think it's kind of the same deal with mid-market games. I think gamers had such a great time, you know, bashing the shit out of mid-market games for a long time because it does this wrong or it does that wrong or it doesn't have that large of a budget. You know, a good example is actually a stealth game, incidentally, Stolen for PS2 and Xbox back like last generation, right? It's like a stealth game. It's light and shadow based, you know, and you know there are legitimate grievances with the gameplay and so forth, and I'm not saying there aren't, but when those kind of games go away, all you're left with is Mass Effect 2 and shit like that. Like gajillion dollar, you know, AAA blowouts, just big masturbatory fucking money orgies, essentially, which is what we have in the industry right now. And I think there's a parallel there between that and stealth gaming, because when a stealth gaming does something bad, you notice it more. Like with Velvet Assassin, a lot of people hated that game because occasionally the stealth can be a little touchy. I actually loved the shit out of the game. But it was like every now and then the shadow wouldn't hide you or something like that. And I think people hold stealth games to a higher standard sometimes than they hold shittier games, frankly. You know? But I'd still take a shitty mid-market stealth game over Call of Duty Black Ops 5000.
I'd give the worst stealth game anything than a fucking a Call of Duty whatever fucking title they're going to give it this fucking year.
Absolutely, and I'll never forget. The industry holds stealth games to this weird fucking otherworldly standard too. I'll never forget. I read an issue of Play magazine in fucking 2005, I think.
Jesus, you're going back there, lad.
No, in 2004. And it was the year that Thief Deadly Shadows came out. If I remember correctly, I think Metal Gear Solid 3 Snake Eater had come out that year. Stolen came out that year. and that was more or less it. And somebody remarked that there were just too many stealth titles being released. The person who wrote the article was like, there's just too much fucking stealth. I can't handle 3 games a year. It's like, what would you rather? No, that's right. There was a Splinter Cell game the same year. So 4 games in 1 year in an entire genre. And yet there were 1 gajillion just monochromatic, interchangeable first-person shooters released that year, and nobody says a motherfucking thing. It's bullshit, the double standard in the industry.
Well, that's why we're here, isn't it?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, about 7 years later.
What's that?
About 7 years later.
I know. But hey, we're well, you know what? If you read the news, if you keep up with the news, we're gonna be in business a long time, baby. There's a lot of dumb motherfuckers still. I don't understand how so many people have lost their job in this industry, and all the dumb fucks are still there. It's amazing.
Why do you think we're still in employment?
I mean, the game industry must be like the motion picture industry, where you just like fail upward.
Well, you know? we fell kind of going upward as well, because we've just actually reached a plateau recently of 4,000 subscribers. Yeah.
All right, and that means that approximately 12 people are watching us, which is fantastic. We appreciate it.
Yeah, that's 12 people that actually give a shit.
And we thank every last one of them. We got more content here over in the comment section. Silent Hill Stuff. YouTube user Silent Hill Stuff says, I have a highlighter stuck in my anus. So everyone, stay as far away from Silent Hill Stuff as you possibly can, because I understand he'll put a highlighter in you. Don't everyone who is subscribed to Silent Hill Stuff unsubscribe from Silent Hill Stuff, because he keeps highlighters in his anus.
No, you head on over to 4chan. They love that shit over there.
I was gonna say,
Silent Hill Stuff. Head over to 4chan.
You could tell him to go and take a shit under a black light, and everybody could see it glow. That would also be pretty cool.
Don't forget, picture it didn't happen. Also, YouTube user LittleLungs33 says, what do we think, I guess meaning us, what do we think of Capcom scapegoating digital distribution and over-outsourcing as a reason for their shit sales and, I guess, overall low revenue?
I don't know that they they actually did more or less address that they needed to make better titles. They did say that, at least.
Yeah, if we made good games, they might sell.
After how many bad titles, though?
It was one of the bullet points they hit, So
after how many bad titles, though? After how many bad titles, though?
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. It's been like a decade of just douchebaggery for Capcom, at least. It's been absolutely since about 2005. The qualitative landslide has been pretty fucking severe for Capcom.
Yeah, I'm wondering, do they like outsource their fucking announcements too?
Well, did you also see in the same exact announcement where they were going and talking about all this shit? They also said one of the ways that we think that we'll be able to go and fix some of this stuff is by introducing more downloadable content.
Wow.
And I can't say it with a straight face because it's so fucking it's so
well, that's what the people want. The people need more downloadable content.
We noticed a lot of people like incomplete games, and they like being nickeled and dimed. We noticed that this trend needs to increase, and this will suddenly just turn our crappy games into golden eggs, and then all be great.
Yeah, they love to buy a game and buy status.
Dude, I'm just amazed. Like, I want to know what the fuck they use for a foundation of the Capcom headquarters. Is it just pure crack rock that they have the entire building constructed out of?
Or is it cut with, like,
to the wall and
Ajax?
just started smoking it? Like, what the fuck?
No, it's got. I would say granite, but I don't think that's a dense enough material with which to depict these fuckers.
No, if you want a dense material, just use the board of Capcom Entertainment or whatever they fucking call themselves nowadays. That's the foundation of the bullshit that they keep spilling every fucking year when they say, oh, we're making a Mega Man title. Then about 3 days later, oh, we're not making a Mega Man title. And then they say, oh, we're making a Resident Evil title. And then they make it the worst fucking title on the planet.
It's going to be our biggest budgeted game with the biggest team ever, and it's essentially watching an action movie with quick time events and a story that makes you go, what the fuck is this? Stop that. Stop that.
You know what? I do like Metal Gear Solid, right? But at the end of the day, what they did with Resident Evil 6, from what I understand, they turned it into Metal Gear Solid 4. Because it was movie, quick time event, then game.
There were
in that exact order.
Near as many cutscenes in that game, though. I mean, I'll bash Resident Evil 6 until we all go blue in the face. But fucking, there was no way it had more cutscenes than Metal Gear Solid 4. That game was retarded. It was so ridiculous in Metal Gear Solid 4. My editor and I actually sat down and crunched the numbers on the ratio of cutscene to gameplay. Just fucking ridiculous. Did I ever tell you guys what it was?
No, what is that?
Can I just ask you a serious question before you answer that?
What?
Why did you actually sit down on a weekend and work out how many times...
For the sake of the integrity of the
How many
internet.
times you actually played the game
it was
before
really
you wanted
simple.
a cutscene? Why did you do that? Why did you actually put yourself through that physical torture?
No, it was really simple. It was arithmetic simple enough for even you to follow. It was, the game opens up, right? There were 12 chapters, and there's a long-ass cutscene at the beginning and end of every single one. It's very, very formulaic. And there's a few little ones interspersed here and there, but for I cut those out entirely. I'm not even counting those. So there are actually more cutscenes in the game than the one that I'm about to tell you about.
Okay.
The game opens with like a 35 to 40 minute cutscene.
Yeah, that's called the tutorial.
Then the chapter starts, and there's like
that's still the tutorial.
Yeah, there's a cutscene at the beginning of each chapter that is no longer than like 40 minutes and no shorter than 25 to 30. And then at the end, there's one that's about an equal length. And then the game ends with an hour-long cutscene. So,
much, yeah.
And then in every chapter, I mean, even if you fuck everything up, you're lucky to get 25 minutes of gameplay out of this. So you're really looking at more like a 15 to 20 minute gameplay ratio, which is ridiculous because when you actually crunch those numbers and you compare the times, it brings it to like a 70-30 cutscene to gameplay ratio.
Please tell me you paid him extra for this.
I'm still trying to get my head around why he actually puts himself through this, just to fucking sit there bashing Hideo Kojima creations.
There are some people that do anything, will do anything for the sake of statistics. That man is one of them.
I think he just does anything just to get on the internet when it comes to things like that.
Yeah, well, because that's like RazörFist. RazörFist is just crazy for statistics. He's just like Colin Moriarty, except he's honest. So you have to take that into consideration. So anyway, we got more comments over here in the comment section coming from YouTube user Master Taffer. He says, "Would Sainted Magnus look pretty in a dress?"
No.
No. Have you tried? Did you go to Scotland and it didn't work out for you?
I do have Scottish blood in me on my mum's side.
Not that we'll hold that against you.
Was that during a knife fight or something?
No, apparently from what I've learned from Blackadder, they say that mothers, if somebody wants to actually date me, they have to wrestle my mother, well, this was when she was alive, they have to wrestle my mother, bare-breasted, holding a baby under each arm, in the snow.
Well, what about now that your mom's passed on? Does that mean I'll have to drop a big elbow on your grandmother or something?
No, I think they have to prove it in other ways, but I've not watched enough Blackadder to warrant the research that goes with that sort of thing.
Because I'm just thinking about that, like some chick like trying to beat up my mom for that. It's like, wow, you English, you.
Isn't that just traditional courtship in Mexico, or?
I don't know. I've never met anybody from Mexico.
I thought Arizona is Mexico. I've always thought Arizona was Mexico because they seem to be in their own little bubble of the world, that follows no rules whatsoever.
Wait. You live in San Diego and you've never met anyone from Mexico?
No, never. Never. And I don't know anything about human trafficking suits from 2010 to 2013. Not a thing. Did I mention I'm a full-time video game journalist and that's how I afford this life of luxury? Anyway, Fist, I hate to keep you talking here, but Nitro Java, long-time listener Nitro Java, says, hey, RazörFist, what are some great first-wave black metal bands?
Bathory, Bathory, and Bathory.
There we go. Simple answer. Next question.
There you go. You forgot Merciful Fate, man.
Next question.
No, I'd throw Sodom in there. I'd throw, I'd throw Sodom.
he also throws in The Gong Show.
It's pretty necro.
Oh, well, there you go. Super Norse Show asks, can any of you beat Castlevania 3 on the NES? I never have myself.
I tried my best, but it is like trying to plait your own hair while pulling your teeth out, while brushing your arsehole with a fucking toilet brush and rolling down the hill head first on a shopping cart and making sure you don't hit the traffic on the way down.
But what if you do?
If I actually finished Castlevania 3, I would actually give myself a badge of honor.
Well, you're probably the only one that would.
It would actually be a muffin on a fucking little ribbon that clips my shirt.
Oh, is it a Marmite flavored muffin?
No, it wouldn't be a Marmite flavored muffin. It would be a chocolate flavored muffin because
chocolate flavored muffin, sexual chocolate.
I'm full of chocolatey goodness.
Oh well, I'm very happy for you. Let me see. Oh, longtime listener Jason Michaelucci says, "Do you think the first-person shooter games will ever die, just like the Street Fighter clones and the Guitar Hero games?"
The Street Fighter clones have kind of just they've turned anorexic at the moment. They're a bit behind the world.
Well, fighting games are in a bit of a lull right now, but will something eventually? It has to eventually sway the public from first-person shooter being the dominant genre.
Yeah, I think the first-person shooter being the dominant format is directly tied to the dominance of consoles. And if you look at, I mean, obviously first-person shooters multiplayer were a big deal in the late 90s and 2000s on PC, so obviously there's no exclusivity to that relationship. But I do think there's a clear line of parallel there. I think a first-person shooter, the moment consoles' fortunes begin to decline, and in case you haven't been looking at headlines, that's long since begun. I think first-person shooters will continue to be dominant until the crash takes out console manufacturers. If that ultimately happens, I mean, they could right the ship. It's possible.
They could. I mean, hey, a plane with one wing can fly for a time.
Even a stopped clock is right twice a day.
Exactly. In fact, a plane that is crashing is technically flying all the way until the final crash. Or it's just falling with style, either way.
What about Alpha? What do you think?
I honestly have been hoping that first-person shooters would fucking get dethroned. The thing is, a lot of people just think, oh man, you hate first-person shooters as a genre, which it's very far from the truth. I love the genre. I just hate the fact that it's put on a pedestal because of titles like Call of Duty and Battlefield, which are not that good. I mean, honestly,
is actually better than Call of Duty, but that's like
no,
saying
both of them are fucking crap.
That's like saying AIDS is better than herpes.
What blows me away is how it's so if you look at how the industry has gone, you've gotten less features with more technology. And nowhere is that more evident than in the Battlefield and Call of Duty. Compare those games to the original games that came out back in the day. They have less features. They're less robust. Their multiplayer is less fun. They're just bringing back modes from the Battlefield series that were in the series in 2003.
Well, dude, look at the one main reason why most people are buying these consistently. It's not because of the single-player campaign experience. We already fucking know that. 80% of most people that play those fucking games, and sure, I might be pulling this statistic out of my fucking ass, but I guarantee you I'm pretty fucking accurate. But 80% of most people that buy those games and play them all the time have never even fucking touched a one-player campaign. Beyond that, when they go online to play, if you fucking ask them why they're playing all the time, this is the answer that they'll get all the time. Well, my friends are online playing. Really? That's the reason why you're playing? Because your friends are playing. So this is kind of like keeping up with the Joneses? in video games. And if you're not familiar with that fucking turn of phrase, then let me put it to you like this. It's people just trying to maintain some kind of level of being cool. And they're trying to be like, yeah, I'm playing that game too. Oh, and how many times have you heard motherfuckers say, oh my god, man, I fucking own on that game. You ought to see epic headshot. Watch this, I recorded, but... Don't fucking care. It's not fucking inventive or clever.
I have a feeling the dominance of the first-person shooter genre has a lot to do with a lot of underpaid, pissed-off white males throughout this country who essentially just need to kill. Otherwise, they'll really kill. And let's face it, bullets are kind of expensive.
Well, and I think also it's more randomized. So, like, even people who fucking suck at first-person shooters can win. Like, I blow ass at first-person shooters. I've had kill streaks. I've won matches in Call of Duty, Modern Warfare, and fucking Halo and shit. Because these games, there's such a random nature to them. Like, you can just walk up and somebody can spawn right in front of you, and you're like, oh, boom, you're dead. You know, and you can win a match that way. That's the way these games. There's no skill involved in these fucking games. Whereas,
no, you hide out in a fucking rock.
Game, it's you and that person, and you have to be better than them, and or at least be cheaper than them. So it's like those games are a lot less popular than first-person shooters, and I don't think that's an accident.
I just think it's kind of funny because the entire basis of games like Call of Duty and Battlefield is so-and-so has to be at the center of your screen, click the trigger.
Yep.
Click the trigger. Are they centered? Click the trigger. Centered? Click the trigger. And you're going to keep doing this, and then you die, then you respawn. And the more fucked up part about it, and this is one thing that it absolutely burnt my fucking ass and then some, is the idea that I've come across tons of people that jump on the bandwagon of hating on these games, hating, we're going to use quotation marks here, they hate on these games, and then the very next hour are sitting there mindlessly playing, just saying, well, I was bored. I didn't have anything to do. Are you fucking kidding me? When there's like 40 to 50 fucking releases per month, and I'm talking about just fucking consoles, not about on Android and iOS and on fucking PC and Steam and shit like that, and you're gonna tell me there's nothing to fucking play, not including all the shit that's been out for fucking years? Suck my fucking dick.
Oh, a lot of it has to do with people being fucking sheep. Oh, my friends bought it.
No, you missed one vital word in that. They went, bah. I bought that like my friend.
You have to get them towards the end of the cliff, remember, so they keep pushing back.
Yep.
Thank you, George Carlin.
That's a little farm logic for you. Anyway, you know, we got more here. Oh! Declan, I hope I got this right. Declan MacDonald says, best movie-based game you've ever played. Now, most of them suck, but there's got to be a few good ones. And,
there are some good ones.
A lot of people are going to say Batman on the Genesis, Batman on the SNES, Batman on the NES, Batman
only old
on
fucks
whatever.
like you say
Golden
things like that.
Eye. Golden Eye is the cream of the crop.
Your weakness.
Or fuck, you want to talk Batman? Batman Begins. You know, people credit fucking Batman Arkham Asylum with being this thing that, oh, they finally introduced stealth, and it was the first real Batman game, and you could intimidate enemies. Well, guess what? You can do all that shit in Batman Begins, and it came out like 4 years prior. Like, Batman Begins is a legitimately good fucking game. Although it's fucking hilarious to hear Christian Bale interrogate the one guy because they're smuggling drugs in through like little teddy bears and rabbits, and like he's like, "Tell me about the bears and rabbits," and you'll just die laughing every time. Christian Bale just, oh my fucking god.
Oh god, Christian Bale always reminds me of the black kid from Malcolm in the Middle that just can't catch his breath. It's time for City. It's leaving good.
Other games that are good that are based on movies are, I mean, we have the Super Star Wars games on Super Nintendo, which are fucking amazing. We got Rogue Squadron on Nintendo 64 and GameCube, the Battlefront games. I mean, all those are fucking awesome. Dark Forces, again, another really fucking awesome game. They're just Knights of the Old Republic, which is, I mean, I can't say it's based on the movies, but still within the universe of Star Wars, which is
the same lore, but I can say one between 2 and 3, and that's Republic Commando. If I know it's a first-person shooter, but it's a proper squad-based first-person shooter that actually fucking works and is actually innovative. It actually works. So if you got an original Xbox, get your ass down to GameStop or wherever you buy your fucking pre-owned Xbox games and get hold of a copy of Republic Commando. It is one of the best squad-based shooters you're ever going to play.
I almost feel cheap, though, including Star Wars games, because there's so many good ones. Like
there is so many good ones, but on the flip side, there is a whole heap of bullshit games out there.
That's true. That's
true.
true.
But I mean, at the end of the day, it's still GoldenEye. No matter what we say, nothing's better than GoldenEye. I don't give a fuck what any of you name off. GoldenEye is still going to be better, and the only way that you could say something's better than GoldenEye is by saying GoldenEye again, but much louder.
No, that's not true. Perfect Dark.
Perfect Dark.
Well, Perfect Dark.
Yeah, but I've got one problem with Perfect Dark.
It is the successor.
I have one problem with Perfect Dark.
Well, actually,
that
no.
You
You
have
know what?
to
I would
actually
throw
go out and buy the 4 meg cart just to play the fucking game. That's my only thing about it.
I would throw this out there. The World Is Not Enough for N64 is actually really fucking good. It's got great multiplayer. It's such an underrated James Bond game. Like, just great. You know, the guns handle really fucking well. I love the like ragdoll physics on the enemies when you fucking shoot them. And it's just a really good game. Great single player campaign. Excellent multiplayer. Yeah.
And well, the reason why it's so underrated was because of GoldenEye.
Exactly.
And that's the sad truth of it. I mean, because I agree, the game is fucking awesome, because I played it back in the day. It was a rental, but I still played it and enjoyed it, and I was expecting it to be a heap of shit. Because I was like, well, this isn't GoldenEye. Why am I even bothered? My friend Sean's all like, oh, dude, just rent it. It's $3, so we fucking rent it. And we're like, with our 3 fucking joystick fucking Nintendo 64 controllers going, yeah, this is awesome. It was pretty fucking
and
good
then
stuff.
you sat there a week later with a $30 fucking rental charge because you didn't take it back on time.
Nah, dude. Well, see, I couldn't do something like that because my mom would have been like, roundhouse kick.
Ultra combo.
Honestly, yeah, pretty much. She would have ultra comboed me till money came out. It would have sucked.
I say, you know, one game that kind of gets left in the dust, and it's not a monumental game to base all other monumental games on, but there was a game I think it was by Rockstar Games, based on the 1979 classic, The Warriors. Anybody remember that one?
Dude. That was a very good game.
That one came out, I mean, it kind of got buried amongst, because there was a bunch of movie games coming out. That was like, what, 2007, I think?
Yeah,
well, it came out late into the life cycle of PS2 and Xbox, and we were already into, like, Xbox 360 and preparing for PS3 and Wii and all the other shit, so...
Well, it came out at the same time as there was also, like, a Scarface game. The Scarface The World Is Yours came around at the same time. You know, there was quite a few movie games, and I just thought that game was actually quite good. I'm not going to stand here and tell you it's a fucking masterpiece, but it does get left off of a lot of lists just like this one. So, you know, and now the best part about playing that game is if you play the game, you don't have to see the movie. So, you know, there's that. And unfortunately, the game lasts about as long as the movie. It's only about maybe a 2-hour game or something like that. But, you know, it's a game where you get to beat the shit out of women. I cannot stress how fun this is, and just you should do it. In fact, get yourself an Xbox Durango.
Linda Sarkeesian is in the comment section now. Diving away.
Uh-oh, we're in trouble now.
Or Anita Sarkeesian, rather. Sorry.
Oh, you know what? We got something here from you guys who really want to get your questions answered. We got some smart people leaving questions on the Facebook page. That way they can circumvent everything that's going on in the chat section.
Yes.
Sandro Estrada, who drops us a lot of lines here, and not nearly enough, though, on Facebook, says, isn't it interesting the shift the video game industry has made as of recently? 10-plus years ago, we had lesser spec equipment with complex games, and now we have complex tech with lesser spec games. I don't know if that's entirely true, but I know that they don't try any more than they used to. They've got, much better equipment, should I say, more expensive equipment to work with, and, it seems like they're trying at about the same average level they were 10 years ago. I could be completely out of line, but that's where I see things. So if you want to circumvent the chat section on YouTube, just go ahead and drop us a line at Facebook.com Hate-Bit Podcast.
Yep.
Since no one else wanted to weigh in on that, I guess we'll get one more question.
Hey, hold on. The final tap out says they are ignoring comments. Fuck this podcast.
Fuck you too. You know what? Fuck
we're not ignoring comments because somebody gave us a good fucking topic to talk about. We're talking about it.
No, it's all right. It's all right. You know, just you just gotta.
Here, put it this way: we're not ignoring the comments. We're just getting hundreds of them. Like,
yeah, you gotta. We're getting splashed in the comments like 17 at a time. So if you didn't get your question answered, fucking ask it again, you lazy hunk of shit.
Yeah, and we're not only that, but we're going to be answering questions throughout the show. So
on top of the fact, anybody who uses the tap out logo for their avatar, I want you killed, and I want all of your subscribers killed.
No fucking shit, you tremulous fucking wimp. Stop fucking complaining. Jesus fucking Christ. Head off to a distant Native American village called Quitchabitchin.
Yeah, or better yet, go over to IGN.com and see how much they give a shit about what you think. Much like they care about anything else.
My email is going nuts here with all the
email? You're lying. No one cares about you.
No, I get all the Hate-Bit stuff, so it's like, yeah. I get all the comments.
If you want to send an email bomb, send it to saintedmagnus@gmail.com.
Son of a bitch.
Hey, it's not my fault. They were already doing it. I was just encouraging. One more question before we move on with the rest of the show. YouTube user SlackjawZombie, who leaves comments quite frequently on the show, he says, "How long do you think the PS4 will last?"
10 minutes.
10. Doesn't have the stamina that we thought.
10 minutes, compared to what this generation has shown as next generation. Yeah. I'm excited for the PS3, PS4 like everybody else is, but at the end of the day, the PS4 is not going to last that long compared to what a PC could do, or what even a simple Android device can do, or an iOS device can do.
Well, I think it's really going to, hinge on how much this fucking thing costs to produce.
I think it depends on what games it's going to have.
Yeah,
everybody gives a shit.
Well, let's face it.
You know what? I disagree. I think it's going to be a longer life cycle, and I'll tell you exactly why.
Longer than the PS3?
No, because industry analysts right now are predicting it's going to have the slowest adoption rate in history. This next generation, I'm not talking just about the PS4. I'm talking about 720, the Wii U. We're already seeing that in the Wii U. It's taking people a while to get on this bandwagon.
Sure.
So analysts are looking at this. They're looking at the launch titles released for PS4, and frankly, they're looking pretty weak. They're saying, it's going to take a while to build up that audience. So I'm thinking, man, if you don't have your audience until 2 years after the console is on the market, which is kind of what we're looking at, you're not looking at the numbers that like the 360 had in 2007 until 2 years down the line, until 3 years down the line. You're going to have a longer life cycle because you can only make money off software. They don't make that much cash off of hardware sales. I mean, profit margins are incredibly low on those. And sometimes they lose money on them. Ask Sony. So
yeah, but let's not pretend like that's the console's fault. That has a lot to do with Japanese businessmen partying like rock stars in fucking limousines after they made a fucking video game.
No, it has to do with a Mr. Ken Kutaragi is what that has to do with.
No kidding.
But yeah, they make their money off software sales. So if they can't make money off software sales for the first 2 years, you're going to be damn sure they're going to make as much money as possible off of it after that point. And replacing it within 6 years with a new console does not enter into those fucking plans.
Well, I really think that the way we look at generations as we have in years past, I think that's a bygone era. I think that things are going to be very different. If the consoles want to remain relevant, they're going to have to play a different game. Playing by these same rules has clearly proven not to work. And so we're just going to deny this whole thing and bring out a new piece of hardware when, regardless of how you feel about the PlayStation 3 or the Xbox 360, they're still viable units that you can still make games for and are going to be a lot cheaper to make games for. And that's going to appeal to people who do not have the money to invest in these machines that ultimately may have about 20 games and then, kind of.
And that's just it. You're seeing a lot of developers that are extremely reticent to jump on the next-gen bandwagon. God knows why Thief 4 is a next-gen exclusive. They're going to lose so much money on that game. There's no way they make their fucking money back on 5-year development. But, you're seeing other smarter developers like Ubisoft, they're going to release Watch Dogs for PS4, but they're also going to release it for PS3 and 360 because you have to make your money back. You can't be doing that. You can't hitch your horse to that wagon.
No, you cannot have you cannot have games. I mean, you know, maybe back in the heyday, you know, despite what all the Holocaust deniers want to tell you, but you know, maybe back a few years ago, you know, it was okay if a game sat on a shelf for 2 months, 4 months, 6 months, or whatever. That was kind of okay because you had other stuff going on around it. That's not the case anymore when these astronomical overhead figures to where they've already lost the money before the goddamn thing even hits the shelf. You
Absolutely.
know, we're in a changing industry, and it's being treated with the same rules from like 1996.
And the press doesn't want to see it change. Look at let's talk about it. The fucking Colin Moriarty thing on IGN.
Oh yeah. For those who saw on IGN.com, the game scoop with Colin Moriarty and some other fat fuck in a blue pastel shirt. I forget his name just now. And you know that one fucking asshole that thinks that iOS games are a career. And then there's the one pube that I forget the one with the little bit of gray in his beard, and you know, there was just a bunch of fucks. Anyway, speaking of Holocaust deniers, that happened on GameScoop yesterday, actually, on IGN.com. And
Again.
Colin Moriarty, who looks more like, I can't think if he wants to go for, like, greaser or asshole.
Know who he looks like? He looks like the lead singer from Avenged Sevenfold.
No, I think he looks more like the one guy in a biker gang that washes. You know, but he looks like, you know, like he's like the one white guy that hangs out with Mexican guys, but is trying to get his act together because he just came back from jail. You know, the slick back hairdo, and you know, he thinks the glasses make him look cultured. But Colin Moriarty, now, from my perspective, and I was only able to stomach about 5/8 of it. I'll be perfectly honest with you, because I'm sick of Colin Moriarty and his unfounded statistics.
Yeah,
you know, you see that the first thing somebody asked. And, you know, I love how IGN just now is getting email about trouble in the industry. You know, I'm like, oh, we have a question. You know, someone's concerned that it's the industry in crisis. And, of course, Colin Moriarty, no. No answer at all, just, no, it's not.
Yeah, he looked dead at the camera and he said, the industry is not in trouble at all.
He didn't even bother to look at the camera. He just kind of like, you know, no. And like they were going to move on to another question, but that was the entire basis of the goddamn program. Then he brings out these fucking statistics about how, you know, consoles, you know, have jumped over the years in overall sales, meaning the entire generation. And he's put, I think, the figures for Xbox 360, I don't know if this included the Wii or not, and the PlayStation 3, but this generation, and he only mentioned household consoles. He did not mention handhelds, which has really been what's holding up what's left of this fucking industry. The handhelds, you know, has really been the only thing that stays in the fucking news. Why? Because kids buy that kind of shit. And whether you like it or not, kids still run, you know, what toys last and what don't. But you know, this whole thing about 250 million consoles, like, it's really easy to rack up to. Now, mind you, he compared that to last generation, somewhere in the neighborhood of 200 million consoles. It's really easy to sell 50 million extra consoles when you have a failure rate like what goes on in fucking Cedars-Sinai.
Yeah, but they were giving those things away for fucking free. I mean, if you called in with a red ring of death between what was it, like 2006 and 2010, like they only stopped doing that service in 2010, you got your console repaired for free. I don't even think you had to pay for shipping. I don't even remember, but I mean that is such a bullshit argument.
Chaos, you are a son of a bitch.
Well, that was kind of the beginning of the end from what they call Microsoft's lost decade.
Chaos, you are a son of a bitch.
I know that.
You know you gave out my email address on fucking online, and I've just had somebody. I've had somebody actually fucking send me an email.
Virus?
And it's some dullard called Derek James WYLIE at google.com, and he sent me, "Hey, watching you, Sainted," and he sent me a picture of Ainsley fucking Harriott, who's a fucking chef in the UK. So anybody that's actually on my side, send this fuckhead an email. I don't know, a virus maybe, or some form of click bomb or letter bomb or whatever, and just make sure you fuck his computer up, just for shits and giggles.
Or everybody
wait. Before we go too far, was that your real email address?
Yes, you son of a whore.
You have no imagination at all. I made that up, and it just happened to be your real email address.
I know, and now I've got to...
So you're lame, and it's my fault.
There's actually one question I want to go and tackle, because I've seen a bunch, and he's posted a bunch, and I actually think it's a good question. It's from Gold Skull 808. It's Gold or Golden Skull, but he asked, what's the worst gaming cliche that out there? And I thought that was kind of a cool question, because I had one thing kind of ring off in my head, because I see it everywhere now, and it's such butt-fuckingly stupid bullshit that they do. But one of the worst cliches I see right now is tacked-on multiplayer.
Oh, yeah.
Every fucking game that's out right now, since games like Call of Duty, I understand that we've brought this up, but let's be realistic. This is one of the main reasons why it's happening. Since games like Call of Duty have multiplayer that have people playing it all the time, and that's what they're talking about, and that's why they're buying it. So these games tack on multiplayer to it, thinking that, oh, wow, since we have something similar, they'll stop playing that game, and they'll come do this. No, they won't. You know why? Because my friend's on Call of Duty playing, not on that. Because the main reason that you buy that one game, like the main reason you bought Tomb Raider, was to go raid some tombs and go on an adventure, not to do fucking multiplayer. That was an afterthought.
Well, and a lot of that has to do with EA. EA is to blame for that. You remember, what was it, 2010? I believe it was after Mass Effect 2 came out and was a big success. They said... everything from this point on has multiplayer. Every single game that comes out from our company from here on out has multiplayer in it. So that meant they had to shoehorn it into Mass Effect 3. I don't give a shit how many fucking awards it's won. The multiplayer in Mass Effect 3 eats ass. Okay? It fucking sucks. The people
a lot of things
should be
a lot
fucking
more
ashamed of themselves for fucking ruining it. A perfectly good series. It's fucking dick. Alright?
It's fucking retarded, because 9 times out of 10... I mean, whenever I mentioned that it was an afterthought to most people who were purchasing a game, you know, for its core experience, and multiplayer was an afterthought, the developers also treat the multiplayer as an afterthought, and in most cases, it's the fucking publisher coming down on the developer saying, you have to include it. You have to include it because it is now an industry standard amongst gamers, because that's something that they enjoy. Well, they enjoy it in a certain fucking game. In a game type. It doesn't need to be in everything, okay? You want to have co-op? Okay, build it from the ground up so it works the entire time, and it's a good experience. You want to have multiplayer? Build it from the ground up, or build a fucking game based around multiplayer. Don't just fucking haphazardly fucking throw it on with some fucking wacky glue, hope that it sticks and people give a shit, because they fucking won't.
Exactly. Exactly. And in just some games, it just doesn't work. I mean, I agree, like, sometimes you can throw in co-op here and there, and it might work for certain games. Did not fucking work for Dead Space 3. You know, it does not work, in my opinion, in Resident Evil. I don't like the fucking co-op. I think it fucking ruined... I think the moment it was introduced, that was the death of the Resident Evil series.
It takes the fucking horrors out of it. I'm sorry, but you know what? I never feel threatened when somebody is shooting shit for me and reviving me.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. I mean, it's a cool idea if you have it as a secondary option. Do you want to play through the single-player campaign? Yes. Do you want to play through the co-op campaign, which is designed around a co-op experience? Fine. But they don't.
You know what it would have worked as? A one-off side title. Like, what if they had resurrected the Resident Evil Zero brand, and instead of having that god-awful inventory thing, because that game was built around switching between the different characters, what if they had just resurrected that as a co-op Resident Evil game, and that was its own series? I think longtime fans would have a lot less of a problem with it if they had fucking done that. But instead, they decided to shoehorn it into numbered entries in the series to try and, you know, just make these boku fucking bucks. And it wound up degenerating the value of the franchise, quite frankly. They sold a lot less copies than they thought they would. Just heard yesterday, Capcom had to revise their sales expectations for Resident Evil 6. They didn't sell anywhere near as many copies as they wanted to, and that game sold like well over 4 million copies.
Yeah, I think right now it's sitting at, not including digital sales, It's currently sitting at 4.3 million copies, which, love or hate Resident Evil 6, completely irrelevant. We are just talking about numbers right now. And the fact is that 4.3 million is not something to scoff at.
No.
But what's fucked up, and this is something like all of us on the podcast have talked about, I'm sure many of you fucking watching right now, listening, have also talked about this, but publisher expectations are so fucking retardedly high. It's to the point that most, like, mid-range fucking developers in studios and shit like that can't get their fucking foot in. They can't get something out there unless it fits that fucking bullshit mold of what's selling and what's the industry standard and all the other bullshit. And that's how we were constantly, consistently, always getting the same exact bullshit force-fed to us onto store shelves and shit being watered down. You know, fucking staple franchises that we love to death suddenly changing, not for the better, but because they want to go and bring in that broader audience. That broader audience can go fuck themselves.
And just to answer the question this person keeps spamming in the fucking comments section, the way that I maintain my flowy red hard hair is I regularly shampoo with Minotaur semen. So.
Okay.
Minotaur semen. I sold you. That was a Jim Neidhart sample, man.
Yeah. I had some questions through my email. I put it in the chat. So, Chaos, if you would be so kind to read it.
I gotta do everything around here.
Yeah, well, you're the donkey around here, so you have to do it.
Do you guys drink a lot?
Yes. Next question.
I don't drink a lot. I drink casually, or
you drink everything. Get it right.
I don't drink at all. I never have.
You drink the God-given nectar of H2O.
That's because you're the son of a preacher man.
Nah, I just don't. I don't think it tastes good. I don't really care.
Well,
that's really all it has to do with. I think alcohol tastes like shit.
It's not supposed to taste good.
Yeah.
Well, there was one question in the email that was
people
sent
are
to
like,
me.
well, you should mix it with this and that. They're like, oh, you should have a Wallaby Darned, which is like from freaking Outback Steakhouse with the strawberries and the blah blah. It's like, yeah, but the alcohol doesn't taste good. The strawberries and the shit do. So I'm just gonna have that.
Also, RazörFist, if you're going to drink anything that is like one of those frou-frou drinks, then you're going to have to hit up Sainted, get his dress or whatever the fuck it was that he has, have him mail it to you, and then you have to put it on, make sure it's nice form-fitting and shit, and then you can be like, ah, look at this. Oh, very nice, very nice.
And you have to wear your sunglasses at night so you can.
Yeah.
He does anyway. It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
You know what? I feel bad. I said everyone check us out on the Facebook, and we got a fucking explosion of comments on the Facebook page.
I know.
So, and we appreciate you, every one of you.
There is actually something I want to talk about. It's actually quite close to my heart, and we kind of touched on it with the Star Wars games, and that is, what do we think of LucasArts shutting down? Well, the evil Disney bullshit. I know it was a while ago, but we hadn't had a podcast since.
We haven't said anything about it, really. I understand. There are plenty of girls on YouTube with great big titties who were really excited about it or sad about it, and that's just about as far as I got, so what's your beef?
Well, I'm going to miss LucasArts because many of my grown-up gaming... are you okay there, Alpha?
I'm fantastic.
He's not talking to you!
No, I just saw him kind of like going, Monster, to the camera. There we go, exactly like that.
He's doing the Thriller dance, don't worry about it. Continue.
Yeah, so... No, it's just that I had so many happy memories with growing up with LucasArts type games. You know, for example, the X-Wing series, the fucking TIE Fighter game, the Dark Forces games, the Jedi Knight games growing up, and I was just wondering what you guys thought. So obviously they've done a lot more of that, you know, like Grim Fandango and stuff like that.
Dark Forces 2 Jedi Knight is the game that got me into PC gaming. Like, I was in '96, that game was fucking incredible.
It still is incredible. I don't give a shit.
It holds up. It's still got a community. People still play it online. It's unbelievable.
It's like playing with Lego bricks, but it's still cool.
No, man, it's a great game. It's a great first-person shooter. It's a great lightsaber combat game. It's too much fun. The maps are incredible. They're perfect. You know, they're just large enough that you can explore around, but they're not so large that people can just run away from you the whole time.
I know.
Just a great fucking experience. And what the fuck kind of conniption fit are you having, Alpha?
I'm playing with my beard and swinging around on it.
He's going on Jim Neidhart on us. He's constantly pulling.
Dude, because people have actually asked me, they're like, how do you maintain your beard? And it's just like, you do one of these as if you're plotting a fucking scheme to kill somebody or take over, like, some kind of establishment. And you're just like... like, I had Loki sitting on my lap for a little bit with the James Bond villain shit going on. Like...
You were Dr. Claw, weren't you?
But, one thing I want to mention, since it was brought up about LucasArts getting fucking shit canned, unfortunately, was there was one title coming out that I was extremely excited for. Beyond all the Star Wars titles that I hold very near and dear to my heart, and how much I love the original trilogy and some of the books, Star Wars 1313 looked phenomenal. If you got to see gameplay footage of the game, it looked amazing. I've watched the fucking gameplay footage, I don't even know how many times I read about it, and I was ecstatic for it. And then all of a sudden it's like... I'm like, oh, wow, great. A game that had that much potential. And then even worse is whenever they had a fully finished, completely done, ready to print Star Wars Battlefront 3 finished, and then they said, yeah, don't release it.
I think Battlefront is the bigger loss there, frankly, because 3113 just looked like Uncharted, the Star Wars edition. That's what it looked like.
Nathan Drake shows up, and then he's like, I'm Han Solo, fuck you.
Yeah, it was just Uncharted with Boba Fett as the main character, which is... Wait a minute, that sounds amazing. What am I saying? This is horrible.
Anything with Boba Fett is just awesome. You know, it's just awesome on a fucking stick. You know, that you personally want to arouse yourself with. That's how good anything with Boba Fett in it is.
Wait a minute, did you just say arouse yourself with a stick?
That's he definitely said something about a children's behind.
No, we know he can't do that. He has a narrow urethra.
Damn it, Bobby, what did I say?
Oh my God.
They were just whacking in a tool shit. It's whacking.
Anyways.
Anyway, yeah, so did anybody play the Lethal Alliance game? It was on the DS and the PSP?
No.
I don't even know what that is.
It was an interesting game because it was about... You play as a Twi'lek bounty hunter, and anything that when you play as a female Twi'lek bounty hunter, you have to play it, regardless of what system it's on. It's actually not a bad game, I thought.
Satan has a tentacle fetish, folks. Watch out.
Keep your calamari away from me, you know. Yeah, it's actually a good little game. If you're interested in interesting Star Wars games, then certainly check it out. It's either Lethal Alliance or it's some of the Deadly Alliance, I think it's called, or something. It's one of those. It's one of those, like, it's a lethality sort of fucking title. It's still cool. It's still cool. You play as a Twi'lek with obviously your sidekick droid, and your droid is actually part of the gameplay. If you're going to play it, play the PSP version, not the DS version, because the PSP has got a bit more horsepower than the DS, and it looks better and all that good shit. So, yeah. Anyway, that's the game I'm recommending.
Comments in the comments section. LucasArts hasn't made anything worth owning in a really, really long time, unfortunately.
That's why I was wondering why we're supposed to be so sad.
Force Unleashed was... I hated Force Unleashed. I thought it was vapid beyond reckoning.
Well, out the two Force Unleashed games, the first one is better.
Yeah, 2 is... Oh my God, what the fuck?
2 was an embarrassment. I will say that. That was the last embarrassing game, I thought.
I don't understand why at that point you wouldn't just continue the Jedi Knight series. You got a saber combat game, you're using the Force. It's because they wanted those big, flashy, cinematic moments, which is just the stupidest reason to make a game ever.
But do you remember how excited you were when you first saw the whole Force Unleashed games, and they were saying, oh, this is what you can do on the PlayStation 3 hardware and the Xbox 360 hardware, and it actually looked pretty damn kick-ass when you're pulling a tree to bits and all the little bits come off, but when you actually do it in the game, None of that happened in the game, except when you played the first tutorial level as Darth Vader, where he's actually taking big strides instead of running, and he's doing the whole, I'm slashing like I'm on episode 5, but I'm just going da 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 da. Yeah, I'm actually lightsaber fighting. I'm Darth Vader. I'm cool. I'm hard. You're gonna fight me later in the game anyway, but. That's basically the whole.
That's what the whole game should have been, as far as I'm concerned. It should have just been a fucking Darth Vader simulator, as far as I'm concerned.
It should have been Darth Vader's training, because at the end of the day, you see him at the end of episode 3, and it's like, I'm a screaming teenager. I'm gonna rule the galaxy. Then he gets barbecued. Then he gets made into a robot. He goes no, and then folds his arm for the rest of the film. That's it. And then there's nothing until episode 4.
Here. Since we are touching on LucasArts real quick, 2 things that kind of sucks that we won't see continued at all is Maniac Mansion and Zombies Ate My Neighbors. That sucks.
Yeah, we knew that those were just going to come barreling to consoles.
Yeah, that wasn't going to happen, but still,
Well, considering the fact that we've had like the big retro craze of sorts, the idea isn't extremely far-fetched, but it is something that I was kind of doing one of these and just kind of hoping, because I like both of those games quite a bit, except for Ghoul Patrol was fucking utter crap, but, whatever.
Yeah, watch, they're going to bring him back like as part of the Disney universe. It's going to be fantastic.
Oh, RazörFist is taking a leak. He's gone for a leak.
That's because he's doing the Fandango dance right now, and that's censored. That is censored on YouTube.
Well,
so we can't have
speaking of Fandango, Grim Fandango. That was one of the best fucking point-and-click games I ever played.
Completely forgot about that, but I'm doing a Fandango dance, so it's easy to forget about shit.
Well,
see, it's awesome.
What you need to do, right? You need to skin yourself, right, and then you need to extend your skull about 3 feet like that, and then put on a mobster coat. Then you pretty much got the Grim Fandango costume pretty much sorted.
Mr. Chaos, what other questions would you like us to take?
Well, you know what? I really got to clear out what's going on Facebook. I mean, it is fucking madhouse.
Oh yeah, I remember you said that like people were just exploding all over.
There was a landslide of love all over the Facebook page, and we appreciate every single one of you. I'm going to see if I can, because a lot of people want to know what we think about the new Shinji Mikami game, The Evil Within, and I guess we can talk about that because it seems very important. But
apparently, it seems very interesting.
That's what I understand. So we'll cover that in just 1 second. But I want to cover one before I forget. My good friend Jay Walls over there from Mississippi says that the Xbox 720 is supposedly going to have a $500 model. What do you think of that price point?
I think that's fucking asinine. But I mean, if you're talking about a premium model, it could fucking work. But I think they're hitting the fucking crack hard.
The Xbox has to be gold-plated for me before I even think about paying that much money for a fucking console.
With the economy the way it is, with the video game market the way it is, with the fact that, I mean, and this is a really important statistic, the PS3, it's estimated, 54% of the people who own a PS3 right now only bought it in the last 2 years, and I would be shocked if the 360 numbers were all that different. Which means, people don't have much of an incentive to buy a new console because they just bought it within the last 2 years.
That's true. It's like
they had to wait for the goddamn price to come down.
This generation has gone on for too long. This console, we're all agreed. This console generation has gone on for too long, right?
It hasn't.
It has.
It's
gone on for 7 years.
That doesn't matter. In 7 years, they haven't figured out how to treat fucking customers. That means that they're not ready to move on.
They are ready to move on because...
Tell me I'm wrong. Tell me to my face that I'm wrong, that these guys got everything right, had all their fucking ducks in a row, and made this thing happen. They fucking didn't. Don't lie to yourself. Don't lie to me, and don't go off of whatever fucking Kotaku and Destructoid
I don't care about Kotaku or Destructoid have got to say, because they are both...
The 24-hour news cycle has brainwashed you to believe that it's time for new hardware, when they never even made this shit work. Ever.
Well,
and like
maybe they're
only in
looking
the last
for
2 years have they sold half of these goddamn things.
All right. Here's a question for you. What do you regret about owning a Wii U as of day one, like you bought it. You bought yours day one. Don't deny it. Of
course I did.
You were very vocal about it.
That's
All
how
right,
bad I wanted. I went to fucking Sears.
You went to Sears. Wow. Right. Well, answer the question.
No, you've apparently never been to a Sears. You don't know the strife that one must deal with.
Answer the question, right? This is no Wii U hate. I am just trying to make a point.
Okay.
What thing do you regret about owning the Wii U from day one?
Nothing yet. If there had been a price drop, I'd say getting it early, but you know, the prices are exactly the same. So I.
You just sat there being a yes.
Let me explain this to you. Things suck just as much now for Wii U owners as they did on day one. They haven't gotten any worse, and that's a lot more than fucking PlayStation 3 and Xbox 360 owners can.
But they haven't got any better.
That's not the point. As long as these are the choices we're left to make as humans. As long as your life doesn't get worse.
Jesus
they
Christ,
did exactly the same with the Vita. They've done exactly the same with the fucking 3DS.
Don't
it was only when the 3DS was out it had a price drop. They had the ambassador program, and that's when it fucking started selling. Because they knew they made the mistake, and they had to drop the price to fix that. Now, when are they going to do that with the Wii U? Answer that.
Jesus Christ.
I don't fucking work for them, and where is your fucking data coming from? Because it sounds like you're pulling these figures out of your ass to try and make me look like a shit on the big live stream in front of all
they're
these
actually
people.
coming from
You
Colin.
make me look like a shit. I don't care. I'm fucking putting my... I'm gonna...
You share data with Colin Moriarty?
No, I do not.
You do. You're lying to me. Because Colin Moriarty, he learns everything from the back of, like, Bazooka Joe comics. And,
Yo, Chaos, dude, I thought I was the counterpoint in the Fanboy Wars segment. What's going on here?
No, I'm sick and tired of this shit. Everyone thinks that we need to move on to new hardware. They never figured out how to work with this goddamn hardware, and they never figured out how to treat the goddamn fan base. And that is part of a generation, when you have mastered all corners of it, and none of that. They came out with some good games. They had a real good run, say 2005 to 2008, and it's been a whole bunch of, you know, running on fumes, riding on coattails of previous successes. I do not think it's time, and, you know, no one's going to buy these fucking machines. Yes, the Wii U is going to struggle. The PS4 is going to struggle. The Xbox 720 is almost dead in the water just because it seems like they're making a hobby out of shitting down the necks of loyal Microsoft users.
Well,
and it's going to run on Windows 8, too. You know that, right?
If they're shitting down people's throats, they'll be a big hit in the German market. That's all I'm saying.
That's on the chest.
That's pre-order it in Germany. You get the glass table for free.
Yeah. Hey,
but if you get the American model, you get the glass ceiling for free.
which
yeah, and then you get the rocks free when they drop through that said glass ceiling onto your fucking head because you would have been silly buying the console day one. Yes, I know buying the console day one kind of gets it on its uppers, but I don't understand why anybody would want to buy a console day one nowadays, because whenever they release a console, you look at every single console release or every single new variant release of the past, 3 years, it's always been lackluster, boring, or pointless.
Yeah, well, hindsight is always 20/20 English. What does that mean?
Yeah, but I don't know. I think the real story here is that Sainted, that fucking analogy just lapped the Earth at the equator twice.
That's okay. It just means that nobody actually listens to what I have to fucking say. So it doesn't matter what I say. I could insult their mothers and nobody would fucking listen to me. So. And I've not insulted anybody's mother because the comment section starts lighting up like a fucking Christmas tree.
What's in the cup, Sainted? What's in the cup?
You want to know what's in the cup?
Jaeger.
That's that Jim Neidhart sample I was telling you about.
I ain't finished yet.
Wait. Are you endorsing the abuse of alcohol on this program?
Hey, you want to know what? Here, you can look at this. I'll also go and endorse.
Great! You're both a bunch of sellouts.
Yeah, so misunderstood. It's really a digestive aid.
Wait! I can go one further. Look, I've got.
Oh no, he's gonna show us his balls.
I've got the sexy T-shirt. You know.
How much did they pay you?
No shit, right? I mean, well, because
it wasn't enough.
They pay me in Jaeger and Vicodin.
Apparently so.
So you have the Anna Nicole.
Wait. Pre-mix or post-mix?
Well, I could be even more of a sellout, and they could call me the sellout Magnus from now on. I've got Jacob's Crackers.
Oh, yeah,
I have
you
Jacob's
should not have
Crackers.
said that.
Wait.
Sell out.
Yeah, it's funny because I agree with it. And then I've got Clover Butter, which is actually quite famous in the UK. So yeah.
Come on.
And don't forget, Hate-Bit West, sponsored by Country Crock.
Oh my God, Evan. Okay.
Yeah, Country Crock of shit. Moving on.
Moving on. You know,
This generation.
On the Facebook questions that
Can I finish my mini?
Yeah, we
rant?
need to finish the discussion about the Xbox. Go on.
Well, I'm not bothered about the Xbox. The new Xbox has not yet been announced. They've not given us anything to work on yet, so we can't really, realistically, comment on that.
Yeah, don't tell that to the rest of the internet.
Don't tell that to the rest of the internet. Yeah, the rest of the internet's kind of like checked out and thought, yeah, the Saint of Magnus is off on one. We're going to go and fuck off and make a cup of coffee. Yeah, whatever. Anyway.
Yeah, everybody's over on 4chan and Tumblr right now, like, what the hell else is going on?
We don't know. Anyway.
So the Facebook?
Anyway, over on the Facebook.
Let me finish. Come on, I'm going to get my sound effect.
Start back. So you can finish. me Chinese, me play joke.
Okay,
Continuing on. Right. Basically, the reason why I think this generation is done for is because they have made too many mistakes with this generation. They have fucked with the fan base. They fucked with the people that actually purchase all this shit. Yes, I agree with you. They are not listening to their customers now. This new generation that's going to come in, you know, whether it's going to be the Xbox 720 Durango, the Xbox, or whatever they're going to fucking name this next thing, or the PlayStation 4, it's going to be... this is their chance to actually prove to us that they listen to us. They listen to the people that make the games, you know, the developers, and the fact that we're going to get, for once, now you can quote me on this, a quality product for us to actually consume. You know, we're going to drop what, $400 on this machine with a $60 game on top of that. They need to make sure that
$60 if you're lucky.
If you're lucky, but this thing has got to tickle our fucking bollocks and make us fucking smile. If not, a lot of people have said this on the internet recently, that this next generation could be the last one. And that's my point. That's what I'm trying to make. Anyway, as Alpha's mentioned, Facebook. Go for it. And we got there. We got there in the end. Anyway.
Oh man!
Don't let me loose on a soundboard, honestly.
No, well, why do you think I tried to stop you? Anyway. There's a bunch of... Everyone wants us to talk about the Evil Within. What? I don't know anything about this game.
Okay, here. Evil Within. I'll take the fucking reins from here. Evil Within is... a while ago, Shinji Mikami said that he was working on a new survival horror game. If anybody knows who Shinji Mikami is, he pretty much is the brainchild of... It's basically, he's the fucking...
Really? I thought it was the Green Hornet's driver.
He does when he wears a mask. Then he's doing stuff. But no, he is pretty much a dude that made the original Resident Evils up until 4, and you know, a lot of people revere him within the gaming world because he did do a lot. He has worked on other stuff. If I'm not mistaken, he also worked on the first Dino Crisis and a couple other things. I can't remember off the top of my head right now.
I heard he worked on the first Dino Crisis, which actually is one of the best fucking survival horror games on the PlayStation 1.
Very good game, but...
After Res Evil. There we
go. Basically, Evil Within, they finally showed it off. I had seen it on IGN, but basically they showed off a trailer. It was like a live-action trailer, which... Truth be told, if this was a trailer for like an actual horror movie, I would have been pretty impressed. But IGN's supposed to be going hands-on with the game, and on the 22nd, today's the 19th, so on the 22nd, they're going to have like hands-on details, more than likely like screenshots, gameplay, and all that shit, so we can really get some more information out of it. So there's only so much that can be said right now, but truth be told, I'm fucking excited because I'm going to see what this dude's been cooking up, considering he doesn't have Capcom pressing their fucking thumb down on top of his head and, like, you know, keeping him inside that tight box, which most big-name publishers do. And Bethesda is the one who's putting this one out, so hopefully they're taking good care of him.
Well, there you go, and hopefully it works out. I, on the other hand, don't know a goddamn thing about the game, but I hope it's good because there's not that many of those anymore. Anyway, over on the Hate-Bit Podcast Facebook, we got lots of messages, lots of questions, and one of them comes from Facebook user Morgan Ensland, who I understand is both the treasurer and president of the RazörFist fan club. and we appreciate that. Morgan says, "I love you all, and I'm sorry for spamming." Well, stop it then.
You're not sorry, or you wouldn't have done it.
Yeah, Morgano goes on to say, if you guys could see one game made of a fantasy or science fiction novel series, what would it be? Assuming it would be a well-made game.
I would like a well-made game of Dune.
A well-made game of Dune. You know, that's surprising. There isn't one, is there?
Yeah, there really isn't. That's interesting. Well, no, well, I mean, there was Dune was one of the first RTS games ever. Actually, it's very, very important in the development of my poster. Just fell down.
Your room is
your house is falling apart. My God,
his room is undressing. You've got a live strip show on RazörFist part of the world.
We promised there would be nudity. Anyways, so
no, we promised there would be urination.
But no, Dune was a great game. So
your poster's coming after you. Be careful. We're all witnesses if it attacks you.
I don't have... God, someone else answer so I can put it back.
Oh,
I know. No, I'm not a huge fan of, like, you know, fantasy, you know, fiction and so on. But geez, I mean, I've Alpha Megason, you gotta know the fantasy series. The Legend of Zelda.
I'm gonna be completely honest. Like, so this is based off of books, right? Like the question, like
yeah, well, printed materials of some kind.
Okay, put it this way. I don't read a whole lot outside of comic books, and that's complete honest truth. Everybody in my family and stuff like that, they're all into, like, big-time novels and shit. I read comic books. So, yeah. So, I'll just go with Transmetropolitan, because that's about as close as I'm gonna fucking get. So there, take that. Bam.
I want more Transmetropolitan in my life, because it is one of the best comic series that I've ever read. Personally,
what I would love to see is
Can I just throw this shameless plug out there, because I've not had one yet? Shameless plug.
Yeah,
actually introduced it to me.
Just beverages and.
Yeah. I'm not sure we're Alpha, so I'm just going to do that. But he actually introduced me to Transmetropolitan, and I have to wholeheartedly agree. It's one of the best comic book series that I've ever read personally myself, and I'm not a big comic guy, and it is good. It's rich in story. It's rich. The characters are fucking awesome. So there we go. Continue.
You know something I wanted to talk about. I thought this was important. RazörFist and I had a bit of an exchange on Twitter earlier this week, and
I didn't get to answer.
Well, I thought you answered. Oh no, you were putting up a fucking poster. Please go on. You were interior decorating. I'm sorry.
Well, I'd say Blade Runner, but it already exists and it fucking rules. But I think at the end of the day, it would be really fucking awesome to have like a game based off of either. I love the Redwall series of books. It's like a fantasy novel series with like mice and shit. Anyways, I would love for there to be like one of those. I don't know. There's so many great fucking fantasy properties out there that have not been made into fucking games that would be perfectly natural. Actually, the big one that I'd like to see, they made 1 million games out of the BattleTech franchise. They have never once made an RPG, which is how BattleTech started, as a tabletop RPG.
And BattleTech as a fucking RPG would actually be kick-ass, because, some of the 3D mech games that they've made out of it is actually pretty cool. You know,
I think BattleTech would be a natural. I mean, it's got its roots in tabletop role-playing. I think it would be just a natural fit for it, and they made one out of Vampire the Masquerade and made Bloodlines, and it's a fantastic fucking game.
Bloodlines is fantastic.
Isn't BattleTech part of the Palladium series?
I think it's part of the same universe. I could be wrong. It's been a long time since I played Battletech.
I don't remember if it was Battletech or Robotech, because I'm starting to get shit fucking confuzzled up in my brain, but Palladium, dude, that was like somebody had asked about fucking Dungeons and Dragons if any of us roleplayed. I'm so sorry I forgot your screen name, but I remembered the question because it was asked a couple times, but my very first role-playing anything was with Palladium, and then I moved on to Dungeons and Dragons 3rd edition.
My first role-playing anything had a leather mask.
No gimp suits or anything like that involved, thankfully, or else then all of a sudden we start going into, like, we need Bruce Willis to show up and shit and save us. But,
no, don't call the Willis.
Right, you know one of my favorite Wii U games is going to be Bayonetta. Well, somebody called Michael Kitchen. He's a regular commenter on the Hate-Bit. He sent me an email saying, "Please go play Nintendo Wii U. It's awesome. Nintendo Land will brainwash you, Zombie U will rape you, and Bayonetta 2 will be for you."
You should start drinking water.
Or disinfectant, either way.
Continuing on.
You know what? Before we go too farther, I have to remind you over on Facebook. Cici Ruzuzu Kiyomitsu says, "I love you." So I just thought I'd share that.
And we love you too. No homo. Unless you're a girl, then we love you. No worries.
If you're a girl and you have an Asian name, I guess then we love you long time.
Unless Mega Minx ultimately shows up here, in which case a little bit of homo.
Well, no.
Then I'd gladly sleep with RazörFist if Mega Minx showed up and tried to
you
sleep
calm
with me.
down.
If Mega Minx shows up, I call right eye socket. Anybody is welcome to the other parts. I just want the right eye socket.
Because she's not gay, really. She just strongly prefers.
I call pickaxe handle with barbed wire around it, set on fire, with cyanide inside.
Is this why you don't have a girlfriend? This is not romantic in the slightest.
Oh, hold on. And then on his profile, it's like, my turn-ons include, and it's like, I rolled 3d20s. It does this much damage because this is like epic level gear, by the way.
Yes, I'll use my +5 wand of impregnation.
Special power, jiggly.
My wand. There we go.
A paladin can't use the helm of disintegration. Well, and otherwise, I'm a black guy.
Okay, so somebody sent me an email about my Galaxy Note. That's pretty cool.
Oh,
that's pretty cool.
That would be great.
That is a humdinger if I ever heard one.
Actually, this guy is called someguy43210 at gmail.com, and he actually says, yeah, download these emulators. They will work with all emulation on your games. Well, actually, thank you very much. I have actually used quite a few of these emulators before, and they work really well. So.
All right, here. How about this? Josh Sampson, who's asked this question quite a few times, don't worry, I swear I'm paying attention, has asked, what game have you put the most hours into? And I would say, like, outside of, like, online games and stuff like that, because I don't count those, like, an actual, like, single experience game, I would say is actually on PS2 behind me, called Disgaea Hour of Darkness. Somebody had also asked what our opinions on that was. I don't know if everybody's played them, but Disgaea Hour of Darkness, one of the best tactical RPGs I've ever played. I put in roughly like between like 200 to 300 hours on that. That's like pure gameplay because there's so fucking much to do on that, between item world, getting all the extra characters, maxing them, and then putting them back down to level 1 and starting off with bigger base stats. And the story's just really fucking good, but I still have not beaten Prinny at all. I can't. He's just too fucking difficult. But yeah, that would be my game right there. So.
There you go. You know what? We got cheaters now. We got a YouTube user, David Uli, who's also leaving messages on the Facebook with the exact same goddamn question. So let's go ahead and get this out of the way. I know, right? He says, do you guys agree that we haven't had a really good games since like PS1, N64, and early PS?
Right, we're not answering that because you didn't use proper English.
There you go.
Sorry.
Apparently this guy is Scarface from Batman.
Use guys.
You guys.
Well, I think we've been talking about games post PS2 that were halfway decent. So no, I don't agree with that.
No, I don't agree with it at all. I think I've played some great games in the last several years. I really enjoyed Silent Hill Downpour. Sleeping Dogs was awesome. I really enjoyed Deus Ex Human Revolution. Even though Skyrim had a lot of issues, it was still fun. I mean, no, not at all. Red Dead Redemption a couple years ago. I mean, come on, guys.
See, that's the thing. Everyone forgets games like 4 weeks after they've been out.
Yeah, that's the problem. You get a really negative perspective because, 3 negative things will happen in a row, and you'll forget that, like, a month ago, a really awesome game came out.
Oh, yeah,
I have an email. Another email.
No,
No, it's
about
from
the fucking Galaxy tablet.
No, it's actually no. It's actually a genuine question. He has 2 questions.
How much do you like your Galaxy tablet?
I actually like my Galaxy phone. It's one of the best phones I've ever had. Anyway, moving on to this email. It's from Happy Panda Dude. He actually sends us a few messages on the Facebooks and the emails, and he says, "Hey, what's your worst case of buyer's remorse?" And also he asks, "Do you fuck women while playing games?"
Well, fucking a woman is a game in and of itself.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say.
Let me just go out there, right? When you're fucking a woman, you should not be playing a fucking video game, you fucking retard.
All right, number one,
what
I'm
kind of question is that?
Ignore what he's saying. If you can play games and have sex at the same time, do it. I will tell you flat out right now.
This is why the good Lord gave us fellatio.
Look,
Do you want to have sex with that same woman again? That's what you need to ask yourself.
You want to know what? If the chick sticks around, that means that you can start playing co-op. She can fucking sit there and reverse cowgirl and shit, and then everybody's got a controller. There you go, have a good fucking time. But I've complete honest truth. I got one of my highest scores on the very first SSX on PS2 while getting a blowjob the entire fucking time throughout the entire course. Bam. Do not ever fucking say that it is not worth fucking getting laid. And I understand blowjobs are fucking, that's only halfway. But the fact is, that's hard to pull off all those moves while somebody's like bouncing around on you and shit. Like, I'm not a bouncy castle.
I'm going to give you a virtual pat on the fucking back for that one. That is just fucking awesome. That's put me on the fucking floor.
And you want to know what? I'm not going to leave out ladies. Look, the fact is that you can actually go on all fours, use your elbows to brace you, look at the TV, hold up the controller, let the dude do all the fucking work and praise you for your fucking exceptional work in the middle of a fucking epic battle in like Lunar 2. You will be the shit and get a thumbs up. Banana
I'm just making up battle music, so don't worry.
Oh, is that a battle? Anyway, that's more of like a supply exchange.
Has anybody had any buyer's remorse? That was a good question, actually. Have you bought something and you've regretted it totally?
Yeah, remember when I paid you to be on the podcast once? That was really terrible.
Yeah, that was terrible. I remember we let you sainted drink Jaeger straight once. It was a big mistake.
Yeah, him and his friends started playing with gloss paint. It was not good.
I know one thing that I had buyer's remorse on immediately, and that was and I've said this before, but I will say it again. That's the Super Mario Brothers All-Star fucking Collector's Edition on Wii. One of the worst fucking things I've ever bought. Dead Space 2, the Collector's Edition. The fucking plasma cutter that comes with it is a fucking McDonald's toy.
Oh yeah, there were so many cases. I've had buyer's remorse over so many collector's editions. The collector's edition of Assassin's Creed 1, which you can see behind me, what a useless piece of shit. Oh, it comes with an Altair figure. They don't tell you it's a gumball machine figurine that's like this big.
Yeah,
I'm thinking I'm getting a friggin' action figure.
Is it like the homies?
Yeah.
It's kind of like your regular action figures action figure.
And then it comes with a bonus disc. Oh, a bonus disc with a bunch of material that's, videos that you've already seen on game trailers that were released, months before the fucking game came out.
But now you have it on disc.
Total buyer's remorse. Even though you get the little tin, which is kind of neat for people who were impressed by metalliferous substances. But fucking, I just don't understand, like, why so many collector's editions are just utter pieces of shit.
Well, I was stung a few years ago, actually. 2010, believe it or not, was when, obviously, when the old Star Wars Force Unleashed 2 came out. And I bought the collector's edition thinking, oh, yeah, you're going to get all this, like an art book, or you're going to get all these photographs as postcards or something in this collector's edition. So I plucked for that. It was £55. I got it. You guess, a fucking memory stick and a tin in this Perspex box, and it's got a fucking cardboard sleeve. The cardboard sleeve is as big as a PS3 box, but it's just for the memory card with all the pictures and media shit on it, all on one fucking thing. And that was the biggest waste of money I have ever spent. And then
biggest buyer's remorse for me, game-wise, like not collector's edition, just in terms of a game that under-delivered. Lord of the Rings: The Third Age. 1,000 times Lord of the Rings: The Third Age. One of the worst games I've ever played in my life.
Not once, not twice, 1,000 times.
Yes.
Wait. I've got one. War in the North.
That was pretty bad.
Lord of the Rings, War in the North. We got to. I was playing with my friend Alex, Return to Mother Base, and we played it co-op online, and we got to a certain point. I think it was about 55% into the game. The game glitched, and then auto-saved. We lost nearly 12.5 hours of online play on that fucking game. And I tell you what, the next day I was down fucking game, CEX, or wherever I fucking traded it in, and got rid of it. It was a goddamn Christmas present, and it went. I didn't care. We both did exactly the same thing on exactly the same day. That's how bad that Lord of the Rings game is, and that is my worst case of standard edition buyer's remorse. The collector's edition is kick-ass. The UK, we got a troll statue. The US, they got this cool fucking quiver, with arrows in it and whatever. So, anyway, moving on.
You got your arms crossed. Are you like a rapper now?
Somebody in the comment section just said, somebody gets sainted a black coffee in a nice shower.
If I wanted a nice shower, I'll take my shirt off and go outside. It is fucking cold out there.
Well, yeah, because you live in England.
I live in England.
You know what's something? I can't believe this. You know girls listen to this shit?
I know.
Unbelievable. We're getting hit up over here by a fucking spammer named Sabrina Locke on Facebook.com. And Sabrina Locke... Now, Sabrina Locke is... oh, hello.
Chaos, behave yourself.
No, not in this... I don't have to. You can't... You're not the boss of me.
You're not
but I know who the boss of you is.
Well, that's true. Sabrina has a question, and before we go, Sabrina, you look like jailbait. Just thought I'd let you know. Okay. But she says, I heard a rumor and was wondering. I heard a rumor and was wondering if it was true that Bayonetta 2 is coming multi-platform. Is this true? Well, Nintendo is publishing Bayonetta 2, so I really don't think, unless Nintendo sells the rights to some other publisher, that's going to happen. So I'm going to go with no.
It's possible that they could do like a what's the word? When it's multi-plat, it's single plat for one thing, and then it's multi-plat later on.
Yeah, but that only works. Why would Nintendo publish it for somebody else's console?
Yeah, that's what I'm on about.
Well, here's the thing: the people that are making Bayonetta already went on record and they said this exactly. We would be willing to go multi-platform, but it is completely and utterly up to Nintendo. Like, completely. So the only way that it would go multi-platform is if Nintendo gave it to OK, then it's going to show up on the other consoles, PC, and shit like that. But ultimately, no, it's going to stay on the console. And to be honest, even despite the fact that I would like to see it multi-platform from a business standpoint, Nintendo would be smart to keep it over in their neck of the woods because it would be an exclusive that would help sell the Wii U as a console. So, just saying. But if they want to make everybody happy and not profit off of it, then yeah, let it go everywhere.
Well, I hope it goes really well.
Do you really?
Yeah.
Such enthusiasm. I think he needs it.
Yeah, I hope it's, yeah.
Yeah. Well, to be quite honest, I can't really say much because a lot of people are going to bring up my Bayonetta 2 video that I released when it was announced, and yeah, I was a bit fucking steamed about it, but considering that the fact that I've actually had a play on a Wii U now, it's not as bad as what I thought it'd be.
Well, we love that glowing review. Thank you. You can probably go work for IGN now.
Anyway, check your comments.
Or you can work for GameSpot. The Facebook user Harold Kumar, what a creative name, says, is gaming in a worse state than movies quality-wise nowadays?
I think they're on par.
I think the industry is actually... We only hear these statistics, years after the fact, but if I had to guess, I would say there was a while where the video game industry was bragging that they were making more money than Hollywood. If I had to guess, I would say they're probably not making more money than Hollywood anymore. I would say it's probably either even or they're less.
I think they're spending more money than Hollywood, to be honest.
Yeah, exactly. They're spending more and getting less in return, so...
Yeah.
Yeah, well, how's it so funny that Battleship was a movie and Metal Gear Solid was a movie?
Metal Gear.
Wait, how did that happen?
And both were directed by Michael Bay.
Oh, God. Please, I've just eaten.
Shall we give a public service announcement to somebody that wants to start off with RPGs?
What's that?
Well, somebody sent me an email called Ian Asaf, or Asaf, whatever, and he says he's 15 years old and I don't play RPGs that much, but I want to start to get into them. Okay, do you have any RPGs to start with me? Basically, he wants to know what RPG to start him off in playing RPGs.
Did he say what format?
He didn't specify, but I'm guessing Super Nintendo, considering he's mentioned Chrono Trigger, Final Fantasy VI, and Earthbound.
I'd say anything from the Dragon Quest or Dragon Warrior series, because those are the games that are going to tell you whether you like RPGs or not.
And the man to talk to here is Alpha.
Oh yeah.
Take it away, buddy.
Alpha is the one.
Well, I can attest to two things right now. I know I have at least one person's back on this. Super Mario RPG and Breath of Fire 1 and 2. I will go on record and say Part 2 more so, because I think that's like one of the best in the series has to offer. Beyond that, if you want to have a lot of fun, get Secret of Mana and Two Friends. Play that shit all the way through, and that's an RPG. Like, some people give it flack because it's not an extremely long RPG, but it makes up for that in overall gameplay experience and fun. It is fucking amazing.
And if you want a game like that, go for and with a bit of an Earthbound slant to it, Secret of Evermore.
Yes. Yes.
Go for it.
And the thing is, like, back in the day, Secret of Evermore, like, if you were gaming back then, all of us were, but Secret of Evermore got so much shit back in the day. So much fucking shit, because it was, the dynamic to it was very fucking different, and people were not digging that. Everybody was used to, like, the traditional fantasy style RPG. When that came along, people were like, no, get this shit the fuck out of here.
Fun fact, too, the composer of the music in Secret of Evermore is Jeremy Soule, the guy who did the music in Morrowind, Oblivion, and Skyrim.
And we give him a whole height salute,
Yeah, it's actually a Western RPG, although the person didn't specify whether they wanted JRPGs or Western RPGs.
Well, JRPG. He just said RPGs in general, but I'm going to throw out a few action RPGs. If you want genuinely tough for this generation, as in PlayStation 3, Xbox 360, at least check out Demon Souls or Dark Souls. The games do kick your ass, but they kick your ass because you don't think. Not because the game's hard, it's because you don't think what you're doing on that game. They're definitely something to check out. And don't take the Final Fantasy VII route like I did. Believe it or not, try the Pokemon series, because they are good RPGs in their own right. Not because it's Pokemon and you're collecting all kiddie stuff. It's actually a good RPG in its own respect, so definitely check that out.
And then, of course, I always have to plug it, Daggerfall. It's free. Download it. Play it. It's the greatest game in the Elder Scrolls series, in my opinion.
High five, bitch.
Yeah.
Ooh, there we go. The only
no
time
homosexuality on this show.
The only time you'll see me and RazörFist actually agree on something is when it comes to Daggerfall, anything Elder Scrolls, or anything Thief related. There we go.
Yep. Continuing on.
Yes,
Chaos. Continuing on. What is it you think you're doing?
I'm doing your job at the moment.
You're taking up space is what you're doing.
I'm doing my job. I'm being the token British guy.
Well, since you're the token British guy, Lauren Darkin wants to know, what do you think of the Defiance TV show?
The Defiance TV show?
New sci-fi show.
I actually have Sense, and I'm not paying 40 quid for a game for a series that's not even out yet, which doesn't even have any form of fucking following, so... There's nothing much I can really say about the Defiance series because it's not out in the UK yet, so... If it's out in America, I'm sure one of my lovely co-hosts will tell me.
Lovely, is that the word for it? Yeah. Facebook user Harold Kumar, again, asks, are any of you wearing pants right now?
Not a one.
No. Hey! Oh.
Hey!
I'm ready for battle. I'm just ready for battle, so I'm alright.
We have British crotch incoming.
Now walk a straight line and touch your finger to your nose.
British crotch and Batman belt. So
yeah, the camouflage isn't the only thing that keeps you from seeing his crotch.
Yeah.
Let me see here.
I've heard nobody ask about my hair, which is good. So I've done all right.
Here, hold on. There's a question that's been asked a bunch by the Guitar Man 009. He said, "What do you think about Xenogears?" He's asked a question a bunch. That's why I'm kind of throwing this out here.
He has spammed it a bit.
Xenogears is amazing.
I'm not familiar with the Xenogears, but I'm familiar with Xenosaga, and I think it's fantastic.
Xenosaga fucking pales in comparison. I'll tell that to anybody flat out. Anybody can disagree with me. That's fine and good. But for me, Xenosaga didn't really pick up until the third game. Xenogears, on the other hand, one of the longest RPGs I've ever played, just from like core story and like adventuring around and everything. But Faye and Ed, two of the most badass fucking characters, really unique battle system, switching between like just being regular ass characters to being inside the fucking full blown mechs and stuff. The cutscenes and stuff, beautifully animated. The only thing is, I like some of the music in it. Other music I think is kind of crap, but it's worth checking out at least.
Razor.
I fucking hate Xenogears. I always fucking will.
Razor.
I played this piece of shit at launch. I had a friend who was like, he would get every new JRPG because he just got into PlayStation, and of course, RPGs. He bought it for Final Fantasy VII like every other fucking human being. And he was like, "Oh, Xenogears is coming out," and I watched. Oh my god! I tried to play this.
No,
piece
I didn't buy. I didn't get bought a PlayStation 1 for Final Fantasy. Believe it or not, I got it for Metal Gear Solid.
That's fantastic. Continuing on.
Yeah, continuing on. Just read that. Just go into the chat window on our private chat room. You know, we're posh. We have.
Are you showing people pictures of your dick again?
No.
Super Renegade Outlaw keeps asking how we all met.
Alpha and I went to high school together, and then... Actually, I should have wrote that down before I started to say it.
Yeah.
David should have had that plan.
I don't even remember. I remember there was a bunch of noise coming from Phoenix, Arizona, and I said, "Let's go find that."
Well, I'm gonna answer this professionally. I was a fanboy and I followed Alpha and I went, "We need to start a podcast." He went, "Yes." And then he says, "I'm going to bring a friend of mine." And I went, "No problem. I'll ask some other stranger that I don't know." So we brought that stranger, and that stranger was Yo Chaos, and he went at us and says, "Yes, he'll join." And then RazörFist came along and he says, "I am going to be the God Almighty Gauntlet," and go, "Yes, I'm going to make this podcast cool." And yes, he's done that, and he's done quite well. That's how we all met.
In a nutshell, and not in a monotone voice, but yes, that is pretty much it in a nutshell.
And I don't remember him shouting like those sheep on YouTube. I don't well, like I said, I'm the token British guy, so I've got to cover all British stereotypes. So it could be the bumbling idiot, or it could be the fucking plain idiot.
Wait. It was required of us to have another white guy on this show? Is that what you're saying?
Well, you're half Mexican. I'm sure you're half Mexican.
I come from Tonga.
You come from Tonga. I'm sure you come from South Africa or the South Pole or some...
Wait, what did Fist say?
I said you're actually from Candyland.
Oh.
Please God, someone answer another question.
No kidding. Oh, YouTube user Sprites and Bites wants to know what is our best and worst fighting games.
Oh, you bugger, Gareth.
I know.
Honestly.
He does that. He's a big fighting game kind of guy.
I know he's a big fighting game kind of guy, but
Jesus,
he always asks the questions when I'm not prepared for them. He knows I need these to prepare for these sorts of things, and he makes me cry.
Well, see, look at Alpha Omegason. He looks so upset right now, and RazörFist is bored. He's wondering when he's waiting for a dentist appointment. So,
Fist, like 17 magazines. That's all that they have in his fucking offices.
And Golf Digest.
Oh yeah,
but,
I forgot.
Don't forget highlights.
which is very similar to High Times. Now, Fist, do you like fighting games at all?
I love fighting games. I play them
all
the time.
What are your best and worst? What's the one? What sucks? Tell me
worst
a fighting game that sucks.
Me,
worst fighting game.
Worst fighting game.
Not of all time, by the way.
I'm gonna have to go with Rise of the Robots, or I'm gonna have to go with
that's an easy choice. That's an easy choice.
Or I'd have to go with the Nintendo version of Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Tournament Fighters.
On the Super Nintendo?
The original Nintendo version.
Yeah.
Although
worth a lot of money, but
I would throw Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Tournament Fighters for the SNES up there as one of the greatest fighting games I've ever played. Actually, it's fantastic. It's really well balanced. Konami did a great job on it. Best. For me, my favorite of all time is Alpha 3, Street Fighter Alpha 3. I don't. It's not my best game.
RazörFist, can you do me a favor? Will you stop trying to suck my cock when you say these sorts of games? Because that Alpha 3 is my personal fucking favorite Street Fighter game of all time. 2D.
Right. No, I've always loved Alpha 3. I hosted a couple Alpha 3 tournaments here in Phoenix. And it's a great freaking. I wish it still had a tournament scene like at Evo and stuff. I really think it deserves to be there. Well, anyways,
I'm sure if the Hate-Bit convention gets brought along, I'm sure we're going to have a Alpha 3 tournament of some description.
Absolutely,
we have to do that.
I'd throw I'd throw a couple of the Guilty Gear games on there. I really like Guilty Gear a lot, and Samurai Showdown 2. All day, every day. I love Samurai Showdown 2.
Wait. Samurai Showdown on the Neo Geo, right? Not on the Sega Genesis?
On the Neo Geo.
Neo Geo.
I think it was Takeda to handle that. Takeda is the one that could fuck up a cup of coffee, man.
Go on, Chaos. What? You've been pretty silent in the whole fighting game thing.
My favorite fighting games are commonly referred to as awful. One of my favorite fighting games is I can't remember who develops it off the top of my head, but
Soul Calibur 5.
So, no, I like the first Soul Calibur, but I was thinking of Time Killers, actually. I was a big fan of that. That one, I played that. I played that in a little bowling alley in Garden Grove, California. I must have been like 10 years old. And it was the most violent thing I'd ever seen because there is a punk rocker or cyberpunk when that was actually a thing. Remember that?
And, I remember cyberpunk. It was quite funny. There's actually shops in the UK about cyberpunk.
But one of the characters was Rancid, and he had a chainsaw on his hand, which was completely original. No one had ever done that in media before. This game had chainsaw on the hand before anybody else. And he, it was kind of sucked because, if you picked Rancid, you could just cut their heads off and, you're over in like 12 seconds. And then I also like the original Virtua Fighter. And, so...
Oh, that's shit. I forgot to throw that on. So many of the Virtua Fighter games, especially Virtua Fighter 4 and Virtua Fighter 5.
I really think the Virtua Fighter has become less special as it's gotten further
along.
I
strongly disagree. It's one of the deepest fighting games on the market today. It's incredibly simple because it's still it has stayed true to its original arcade roots. It is a 3-button fighting game, and that's it.
I'll go along with that, but I think stylized, I think the worst thing that ever happened to Virtua Fighter was Tekken. When Tekken emulated Virtua Fighter, and then they kind of started going back and forth.
I'm going to have to disagree with that. The worst thing that ever happened to Virtua Fighter was Virtua Fighter 2 on the Mega Drive.
Well,
that game was an embarrassment.
Well, that's kind of what happens when you put a pretty heavy-duty arcade game on a very old piece of machinery at the time.
Yeah. I'm sure Alpha is like a bulging spot on
You can't see it. He is in fact frothing at the crotch.
Alpha, put yourself together and take it away. I'm sure you have an absolute pile of games you're going to tell us that you fucking love in terms of fighting genre. Come on, go for it. Go.
I would say the single best fighting franchise that I've ever laid my hands on and was Guilty Gear. I mean, flat out. Like, I love Guilty Gear to death. I will say that Guilty Gear X2 is the best one. A lot of people can disagree, but as far as where I think that the pinnacle is Guilty Gear X2. I know that there's a lot of variant versions, like, through Japan and whatnot, but here in the States, Guilty Gear X2. As far as worst, that's such a hard question, because, I mean, I've played, like, Game Boy ports of Mortal Kombat, and that made me want to chuck the Game Boy through somebody. It was very, very bad. Then there's the infamous Shaq Fu, which is a fucking pile of shit. And
man, I disagree. I actually had a lot of fun with Shaq Fu when I was a kid. Not even
dude, even when I played it as a kid, I didn't like Shaquille O'Neal when I was little. But like that, I was just like, "Fuck this game, dude."
Yeah. Keep in mind, I also made paper dolls and had fun with those as well when I was a little kid. So we're fine.
I would say, like, other title. I mean, RazörFist, he had mentioned Street Fighter Alpha 3, so did Sainted Magnus, which, that to me, besides Street Fighter 3 on Dreamcast, is my favorite, like, Street Fighter game. I would also toss in Tekken 3, which I think is still, to this day, the best Tekken game they ever released. I put in a lot of time on that game and still love it. And you know what? Even though some people would be like, I would say the newest Mortal Kombat is my favorite out of the Mortal Kombat franchise. It used to be Trilogy, but I would say newest Mortal Kombat. It's just very tight game. They would patch it every single day to go and keep things even so that shit wouldn't get all fucked up and it'd be uneven, which is something a lot of fighting game makers need to fucking take note of. But yeah, I'd throw those ones out there. So that's my cream of the crop, yo.
Can I throw my choices out there? Because I only agreed with Razor on Alpha 3. I didn't actually put my full comments out there.
Thank you for that description.
I'm going to go over a couple of known genres. It's not going to take that long. 2D, without a doubt, Alpha 3. 3D, for me personally, was Street Fighter EX2 Plus on the PlayStation 1. When it comes to, you know, just all out 3D, has to be Tekken 3 for me. End of story. That's my choices. Next question!
Next question comes from Adam Eugene Stansel, who is a regular contributor in the comment section of the Hate-Bit podcast. Adam asks, what are your all's thoughts on this year's WrestleMania? He's been asking over and over again, so we may as well lay it on him. I didn't watch WrestleMania myself. I just caught the highlights.
Neither.
Yeah.
So but, it's an Alpha and RazörFist question. So
RazörFist was shaking his head like he's taking this shit personally. So
no. Go ahead, Alpha. I'll go right ahead, buddy.
I know what RazörFist feelings on it, because he actually, him and Asa did a video on it, which I enjoyed quite a bit. Let's see, WrestleMania. Me and my brother, my brother actually just got home. He talked me into it. We went halfers on it. It was not worth the money.
Was it worth $70? No?
For HD, yeah, unless you want to watch it in complete shit-o-vision, then you can watch it for $60. But basically, end up getting it, and it turned out that one match saved it. The entire card, for the most part, was a goddamn fucking last-minute mess. Undertaker and fucking CM Punk saved it. They had a fantastic match. That's really the best thing that I can say about the card, but for the most part, it was just extremely fucking lackluster, and it was like watching an episode of Raw. That's all I can really say about it, except for it cost a lot more money than my cable bill.
But we should specify a modern edition of Raw.
Yes, I do apologize. Okay, it is like watching a recent episode of Raw. There we go.
There is one thing I have to point out there. It cost more than your cable bill for something you plainly didn't enjoy. I feel damn sorry for you, lad. Trust me.
I mean, it sounds stupid. I know somebody could be like, "Oh, you're stupid for even buying it," which is all fine and good. But it's like for my family, we got WrestleMania every fucking year. Like every single year, we got it, no matter what the card looked like, just because it was something me and my family did. So it was kind of cool to carry on that tradition, despite the fact it's only me and my brother who are watching it now. But you know, again, it's just whoever was like the booking team for it had no fucking clue what they should have done with half of their talent. And it made no sense. And even some of the matches that were supposed to make it onto the card didn't. And who the fuck convinced Vince McMahon that Puff Daddy was a great person to come out and sing songs from 1998?
Oh, I don't know.
Because he hasn't had any songs since then.
Probably the same guy who convinced him Nickelback should be the theme music for Raw in 2012.
Because nothing says brutality like fucking Nickelback.
Boy, they are ahead of the curve culturally, aren't they? My God.
Absolutely.
Right. I'm gonna.
So essentially, it was WrestleMania 8. Is that what you're telling me?
Roundabout.
Or was it WrestleMania 11?
All right. Can I throw this last email out before we move on to the news section, because we're pretty much stuck in this rut at the moment.
It's not a rut just because you don't have any opinions.
No, I have plenty of opinions. Right. This is from James Faggy McGee. Whatever the fucking... Why he wants to call himself Faggy McGee, I have no clue. But he asks, who would you rather get back into the home console business? SNK, Sega, or Atari? Go.
Amiga.
Good choice. Next.
Philips.
Next.
Sega. Simple.
Sega. Simple. Go. Next. Alpha.
I talked about it a long time ago, but yeah, Sega hands down, because, well, I have extremely fond memories of the Genesis, the Saturn, and the Dreamcast. Biggity bam. And Sega still puts out really competent hardware in the arcade machines that could smoke most of the fucking consoles that are out right now. That's a fact. Look it up statistically, and it's the same size as those fucking machines, and it would be pretty cool to see, like, them put out first party again, and then some. So, yeah.
It would be great. Wait, before...
Last one there, come on.
Well, say before we get off the wrestling topic, Montana Tapia Reyes, common contributor here, says, what was your favorite WrestleMania?
Mine was the only one I watched, which was back in 2006, and I can't remember what number it was.
Well, that would be WrestleMania 22, I think.
Oh God, the one where Triple H tapped out to John Cena in the main event.
Yeah, that one. It was only it was like, we're having a WrestleMania party and we're gonna have beer. So I thought, fuck it, the beer's there. It doesn't matter. WrestleMania's non.
Or maybe that was 07 actually. That might be the wrong one, but oh well.
No, it was 06, but it was I don't care what number it was. I was just there for the beer at the end of the day.
It was WrestleMania. Wee.
Hang on. Wee. There we go.
Yeah, that was so in 2012. RazörFist, your favorite WrestleMania?
I think it's a tie. A lot of people hate WrestleMania 15. I don't know why. It's one of my favorites. The main event between Rock and Austin is the best of their 3 matches, without fucking question, at WrestleMania. It's 1,000 times better than the one at X7. I think the Hell in a Cell match between Undertaker and Bossman is not as bad as people make it out to be. And the fact that he got hanged at the end was pretty funny.
I know, that was brutal.
I thought that was awesome. I thought he was dead when I watched it. I was like, what the fuck?
I miss the days when wrestling actually looked fucking real.
Yeah. And then there was a pretty good match between Kane and Triple H earlier in the card. There was actually... X-Pac dragged a decent match out of Shane McMahon for the European title.
What?
I was blown away by this. I was like, what? They just had a good match, Shane McMahon and X-Pac. And then there was a pretty good four corners elimination match between, of course, it's got Goldust in it, so of course I love it. But Goldust, Road Dogg, Ken Shamrock, and Val Venus. That's really underrated. It was actually a really good match. But yeah, I thought it was a pretty good card. You look at it from top to bottom, it's pretty strong. And then Butterbean getting just knocked the fuck out, or Bart Gunn getting knocked the fuck out by Butterbean. I mean, hit him so hard his head spun the entire opposite direction. It was genius.
Yeah, Bart Gunn took that like Johnny Knoxville. No, Fist, you said there was 2.
Yeah, and then the other one would be WrestleMania 12.
With the Iron Man match.
With the Iron Man match, and you had, God, there were so many good matches on that card. It was just from top to bottom, it was incredible. Of course, the Hollywood Backlot Brawl with Goldust and Rowdy Roddy Piper was there.
Is that the one where somebody almost got run over with a car?
Yeah, where they were following Goldust, and he was in a white Ford Bronco.
Oh, yeah.
And
then, like, wasn't Piper driving like a Buick Skylark or something?
And Jerry Lawler was like, "Oh, this looks familiar."
This looks like a great idea. You know, I'm gonna say, you know, I would like to give it a tie, but I'm trying in my brain. I'm like, there's got to be one, because my favorite WrestleMania was WrestleMania 4 at you know, at the Trump Taj Mahal, or it wasn't the Trump Taj, it was the Trump Plaza at the time in Atlantic City, the tournament for the vacant championship. And I just thought it was fantastic. I recently watched it, you know, a couple of months ago, and it was just dynamite. I was really surprised because I hadn't seen it since I was a kid, and it reminded me how much I love Hacksaw Jim Duggan. I just want to share that. When I was a kid, I'm like, this guy's fucking annoying, and now I'm looking at him like, this guy's annoying, but at least he's fun.
I like Hacksaw Jim Duggan because he was the only wrestling character that I ever saw that actually got fucking excited over a 2x4.
And yeah, and you're probably like, he said ho.
He went ho.
Alpha Omega's in your favorite WrestleMania.
If you had a wrestler that went ho, you know, he's cool. I don't care what everybody says. You know, that's my choice.
As for WrestleMania, it'll sound really retarded, but a lot of the pay-per-views I've seen over the years keep bleeding together, and I'm trying to differentiate them because I remember matches and then some. But when I'm remembering like an entire card specific to an actual pay-per-view, because I could be mixing up like Bad Blood from like 1999 with like WrestleMania, or was that Royal Rumble, and it's. So I'll just have to say that it has to be somewhere within the fucking teens of like WrestleMania 14 to WrestleMania 18, because that's like a highlight area for me. So I'll just stick around that area.
Can I say the first pay-per-view I actually watched was SummerSlam '98?
Oh.
Because I actually started watching wrestling back, you know, when I started watching it in the early 90s when Hulk Hogan was pretty huge, and then I stopped watching it because obviously my parents didn't want me to watch it. So I watched it from about 98 when my mother passed away. And the first pay-per-view was actually SummerSlam '98, and I thought that was actually pretty cool because there was a hardcore match between Big Boss Man and Al Snow, and they ended up in a bar across the fucking road when they were having a fight. And I just thought that was fucking fantastic when Jim Ross says, "He's hit him with a urine cake," and that was just brilliant.
Actually, that was SummerSlam '99, where he fed the urinal cake to Al Snow, but Big Boss Man did.
Yeah, that's the one.
That was a good one. That was a good one. But that was SummerSlam.
I can't remember.
Wow, you mean there's good SummerSlams?
Oh man, there were lots of good SummerSlams.
I thought it was '98. I honestly thought it was '98. Oh, no. I stand corrected. No, I stand corrected. I'll hold my hands up. Thank you very much, RazörFist, for your extensive knowledge of wrestling. Thank you very much for correcting me.
I only remember that.
I will admit defeat. I am not a dick. I will admit defeat.
Anyway,
no, that was my favorite fucking WrestleMania. That was my favorite fucking pay-per-view wrestling event.
So when you said it was your first pay-per-view, I'm like, let me guess, you watched Out for Justice starring Steven Seagal for $4.99. Is that what it was? Or Hard to Kill. I was a fan of Under Siege myself and Christy.
It looks like you're out of bullets. Well, that's too bad, because those bullets could have saved you a lot of pain. Yeah.
Anyway, you know what? We got to jump back into the news.
Next movie review, that is.
We never got to really touch on the Game Scoop over on IGN.com and Colin Moriarty and his figures. We kind of got derailed from that. Now, Fist, you saw it. And I've been waiting for this since I saw this, and I saw it last night. Somebody, I forget who, but somebody dropped it on the Facebook, and I said I hope Fist watched this. So Fist, lay it on the line for everybody.
He just flat out denied that the industry is in any kind of peril whatsoever. I mean, it wasn't just that he was like, "There's no video game crash." It was like he was saying, "There's nothing wrong. Pay no attention to the man behind the curtain." I mean, we have people who have just left the industry. We have people who are running major corporations in the industry. Was it Greg Zashuk who from BioWare who left in order to hit the sauce to do his little connoisseur beer thing that he's doing? He recently said the industry, you cannot deny, I believe his exact words were, you cannot ignore the falling sales across the board in the industry. And this is someone who ran a corporation in the industry. And Colin Moriarty Colin Moriarty disagrees with this person. Someone who is far more qualified than he will ever be to opine on the subject. And that's basically Colin Moriarty and IGN in a nutshell.
Oh, yeah. The whole thing came off as, no, we're not going to be out of work. What are you talking about?
Exactly. IGN has every reason to blow smoke up your ass because they just lost the people who News Corp dropped them like a hot potato. Right?
Yeah.
So now that they're off in in purgatory now, I think they were picked up by some other company that's far less affluent, and their future prospects are decidedly bleak. So
absolutely, and they want to sit there and deny it. Meanwhile, well, realistically, you'd think that if the industry was in fact crashing, the people that cover the industry, they would probably be reducing their numbers and have less to talk about, and
which
that's
is
clearly
exactly
not happening.
What's happening.
No, that's clearly not what's happening, except for the entire pullout of Southern California of IGN.com that never got mentioned on any of the websites because IGN.com had so much control at that time that just kind of went under the rug.
Yeah, IGN ditched all of their headquarters. I think I saw one news story about it. I think it was on Screw Attack, of all places. Yeah, of all places.
If you get news articles from Screw Attack, there must be something drastic.
So it was, but yeah, they talked about that, and then GameSpy closed down, which is part of the IGN network of all of those video game websites. 1UP went down in flames. And this is not, we have not seen the last of this. There are going to be far more that go under before the end. And if I had to guess, I would say it's probably going to be the specialty websites, the ones that cover just PlayStation or just Xbox or just Nintendo.
Or just The Legend of Zelda. I'm not going to name names or anything, but they're a bunch of shit rakers.
They're the ones who are going down like the Lusitania.
Oh, absolutely. The plight of social media. And it's interesting to me because, and all in that same breath, it was a bunch of posturing, and I can't stand such a concept. It's what are you pointing at?
Fist seemed to have disappeared.
Oh well, it's because I killed him.
You killed Fist. How dare thee?
I'm afraid the United States has turned off Arizona, so we may be without RazörFist for a short time.
Oh well. What do we do in these situations? We go. Hang on a minute. Hang on. I just remembered. Boom boom.
I like when things are live, because fucked up things can happen and it makes me happy.
If you're not doing the Fandango dance, no one wants to hear from you.
For everybody that needed to see that.
You got a full face of Alpha Omega Synchrot.
Yeah. You got more than you bargained for.
He's back.
There's the man.
They turned Arizona back on.
Well, welcome back, Team Arizona. How are you? How is it over there in the desert?
Is he a victim of the mute button again?
Might be.
I can see his mouth moving.
I'm right here.
I'll say, someone pull his string. He's not talking.
There's a snake in my boots.
So, I'm sorry, Mr. Fist, you were saying.
I don't know what I was saying at the.
Colin
All I
Moriarty's
said was we were going to see those specific websites go out of business.
Yeah, and it's you know, I think I've already made the reference about, you know, it's like dealing with Holocaust deniers. You know, the writing is on the wall. I'm trying to think. He pulled some figure out of his ass that was supposed to be the catch-all, save-all. Well, this will put you, you know, oh yeah, he talked about. He said that the industry is in fluctuation, which is another. See, that's a political term that usually means overthrow.
Yeah.
And you know, that's, you know, a very you know.
No, it's like when financial advisors say, "Well, we've been experiencing turpitudes and miasms."
Yeah, not to mention derivatives and so on, which means we're stealing your money and you're not getting it back.
Exactly.
You know,
there was an amount of siphoning off.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And you know, he of course threw, you know, THQ under the bus, saying, well, they were the canary in the coal mine, and which, you know, for those of you who don't know, canaries die easily, and I wish Colin Moriarty was a canary. And so, you know, but you know, it was a whole bunch of, you know, just pretending this isn't happening, and you know, and not just that, but merely brushing it off as, oh well, it's you know, it's an overhead problem. Of course, it's an overhead problem, like we talked about just a little while ago about these fucking assholes partying like rock stars.
Well, God, I mean, Alpha knows all about. I mean, you did a whole freaking video about Yoichi Wada resigning from Square Enix. I mean, these kind of things happen when the industry's in free fall.
Yeah. Well, the thing is, and it's funny because if people are trying to say, like, with a straight face that it's not, then why the fuck are all these studios shutting down, and why are sales suddenly plummeting out of nowhere, software and hardware? Why is everybody scrambling for the next big idea?
I don't know if it really came out of nowhere. I kind of agree with what Fist had to say about how this is an iceberg they slammed into years ago and are just now noticing because they've been partying like fucking rock stars all the while thinking that it's a temporary slump, much like the U.S. economy. That wasn't true either. But,
well, and that's what they said. I mean, if you go back and read, like, just type in 2009 video game sales disappointment, you know, in Google or something, you'll bring up all this series of articles that were across every major, you know, publication that all said, well, it's probably just a temporary slump. I believe it was April of 2009. And it was the first time, like, in years that there had been an actual slowdown in sales. And I said at the time, this is not temporary. Look at the fucking economy. Look at the games that are coming out. This is not fucking temporary. There's no way. And sure enough, it was not temporary. It just continued to deepen, and it has continued to deepen. And it's,
absolutely.
Now it's rock bottom.
Well, because it's a whole bunch of throwing money in a fucking hole. I cannot believe the advertising budgets they're throwing these games, not to mention what these games cost to produce. And they only cost that much because, and I know personally, because I've been to some of these places, these magnificent office parks, these campuses of office buildings that are just full of all kinds of gadgets and shit. That stuff that's, you know, not really necessary, albeit they do it anyway. But, and then Mr. Moriarty, you know, what else did he throw under the bus? Oh, God, I lost it just now. There was one point he made that, you know, that look he gets on his face like, oh, this will sure shut them up. But I can't remember what it was. Oh, well, he's a fuck. And, hey, if he don't need hard facts, neither do I. So, you know, that's really how that plays out. But you cannot deny this. But they did.
They certainly did. They looked, and if you need, I did a whole vlog about IGN and all of the various lapses in credibility they've experienced. But this right here, looking at the audience dead in the eye and saying, "No, I'm not pissing on your shoes. It's raining." That's the moment where IGN that needs to be the stake in the heart of this fucking website.
No, but that's just IGN in a fucking nutshell. It's like, you either believe what they got to say, or you're an idiot because you don't read what they fucking got to say. At the end of the day, the whole video game media, they just turn the people that actually have some form of cerebral cortex in their fucking skull by saying, yeah, we're saying it this way. If you don't believe it, you're an idiot. You're wrong. And these fucking drones follow it.
It almost feels like all of video game media now is like state-run media in North Korea. It's really just like trying to influence.
That's a perfect.
Yeah, you're trying to influence reality, but it's like, well, things are bad. No, they're not.
Exactly.
You know. And the other thing that's the one thing I forgot. Thank you. You guys are fabulous.
Yeah.
You reminded me.
And if you want to know what Kotaku's like, you just throw in a light peppering of Japanese panty vending machine stories. And throw that in there, and then really,
there you go. Freedom in Japan. Come on.
No kidding. And the funnier part was when Colin, Mr. Moriarty, decided that he was going to reference the quote. I'm quoting him: 1982 to 1983 crash of the video game industry, which, as we all know, was the 1983 through 1984 video game crash. See, this is important shit because. History, way back when, back in the 80s, a day was a long fucking time. Now, thanks to social media and the electronic entertainment saturation and marination you find in our culture every day, so back then, a year was a long fucking time, especially in terms of stock portfolios. But anyway, he oversimplified the quote-unquote, the last gaming crash, which, as you know, a game crash comes... initially, or, a small recession comes about every 3 or 4 years. Why? Because it's fucking old news. You've been, feeding off the teat for too long. And, like Fist said again, about how, they become bloated and they can't make the moves like they once could when they were just 6 dudes in a fucking garage.
Exactly. No, you need maneuverability in order to evade these kind of crises because... what you wind up with is this huge forward momentum. Well, we can't stop the machine now that it's rolling. EA can't turn around. They can't make an immediate correction. Even if even if the new CEO does everything right, it's going to take so long for all those wheels to get moving in the same direction. There's no way they're going to be able to avoid the massive amount of damage that's going to take place to this company, and it already has taken place. I mean, they were delisted from the stock market. That's huge.
Yeah, that is huge. And I think that the perfect analogy, this is, for anybody who lives in a major residential market, Phoenix, Arizona, Las Vegas, Nevada, Los Angeles, California, this is very similar to...
England.
Manchester, England. This mostly happened to us here on the western part of the United States, but all these construction firms that, as the housing crash was taking place, the bubble had burst, and continued to build houses that were immediately worth nothing, it's the very same idea. But I'll wrap this up. And he goes over to oversimplify the crash, and he stated specifically like this: well, that happened with a bunch of really shitty games, and just not enough people to buy them. It's like, what the fuck do you think this is? Are you missing any of this? I mean, because apparently he's missing, all of this.
Jesus,
and I'm tired of being talked to like I'm a moron because I'm noticing inconsistencies.
I wonder
story.
if this guy goes when he gets an eye exam, because we know he wears those black frame fucking indie hipster glasses.
We are talking about PAX here, aren't we?
I wonder if when this guy goes to the eye doctor's just like, well, it looks like you're flagrantly myopic and you can't read the writing on the wall. How long have you been writing for IGN?
The test always starts with a big E.
The writing's on the wall.
Yeah, so
away.
we're I'm not saying this is not the end. Games are not going away. Of course, there will be a demand there, but these big corporations are going to have to start splintering off. See, I don't know. That's the problem because they're so far gone. You can't just sell off individual properties anymore. Like everyone was surprised about, like Darksiders 2 or the Darksiders franchise didn't get picked up when THQ was liquidated. It's like, yeah. There's no longer a need for that, everyone thinks they're a financial analyst, I guess that's what the case is.
No, you're right there, because at the end of the day, we're just a couple of dickheads sat on the internet, quoting what we think is wrong with the whole gaming industry as a whole. But at the end of the day, the evidence is there. These guys just make the mistakes, and we pick up on it.
Well, I think the best part is, as long as these guys still have jobs, apparently we'll still have jobs, so there's something.
There we go. At least we've got employment on the way.
Yeah, because you realize in any major company, the people who stick around the longest are the ones who jerk the most dicks. So, be aware of that. But anyway, we're getting towards the end of the show already. I can't believe it. And,
wow.
I know, it went by quick, and we thank you guys for stopping by. There's going to be another Q&A section, but right now, it's time for my favorite part, your favorite part. That's right, it's time for a rant from Mr. RazörFist. Mr. RazörFist, will you tell me, what about this Feinstein cunt?
Mainly, I'm going to deal with the hypocrisy, frankly, in the media coverage. I mean, it drives me up the wall. Actually, shit, late last year when that handful of neocon cuntbags in the NRA went ahead and pointed to video games as a breeding ground for gun violence, I remember, I was actually on the podcast, I remember offhandedly quipifying that, if they were a Democrat rather than a Republican, this story would have received like 1/10 as much media coverage. And I hate to say I told you so, but I don't, and I fucking did. Literally, the only two video game media outlets that actually reported the fact that this shrew was not only calling for an end to video game violence, calling them murder simulators, but overtly threatening that Congress may take direct action to curtail their production, which, by the way, is about 5 times more severe of rhetoric than anything the NRA spokespuppets had yanked from their rectal passages, If I remember correctly, the only 2 places to report this were GameSpot and IGN. I mean, that's it. Not Kotaku, certainly, as we can only assume someone at Kotaku East had spotted a used panty dispensary that week, or not Destructoid. Sterling was far too busy. I mean, he's been flapping his 5 chins about misogyny because, controversy-related ad revenue. Not Joystick, I'm sure. They were far too busy handing out 9 out of 10 scores in exchange for $100,000 handshakes. Look, I made my point. My point was proven correct, and yes, I am fucking gloating. Leftist gamers wanted to support feel-good legislation outlawing assault weapons to hoodwink themselves into believing that that will somehow curtail the tide of mass violence, even as the Boston Marathon suffered a lethal bombing in the same week that a man armed with a fucking box cutter went on a mass stabbing rampage on a college campus. Look, I'll just say this. Good luck getting the government to stop there, motherfucker. They are coming for your fucking video games, and that is a fact. You give the government an inch, they will take that mile every fucking time. Dianne Feinstein, the fucking brood mother from San Francisco, is just one mouthpiece of dozens, because it isn't about guns. It isn't about violence in media. It's about seizing control from the individual and giving to a government that has already demonstrated staggering incompetence, administrating what little undeserved authority it already wields. I mean, if you don't believe me, spend an afternoon in the DMV sometime. It's like a third world airport terminal, except all the flights lead to the unemployment line. There's no picking and choosing in this matter as far as I'm concerned. You either believe you're capable of making decisions for yourself, or you don't. It's abundantly clear what side of the argument our president stands on. After all, he's had Vice President Joe Biden forming a clean video games task force since fucking January. It's a preposterously short walk from the nanny state to the warden state, and both end with a defenseless populace being told what entertainment is governmentally sanctioned. Fuck our president, fuck Joe Biden, fuck Dianne Feinstein, fuck pious gasbag like Jim Sterling for supporting this asinine horseshit and starting us down this slippery slope, and fuck each and every addle-brained fucking fool who honestly believes that surrendering any control to our government is going to stem the tide of violence in any material regard. I'm RazörFist, your mother is a whore.
God! Fucking speed.
Bravo! Bravo!
No.
Give the RazörFist harumph! All of you, give him harumph!
Harumph!
I didn't get a harumph out of that guy.
No, I didn't get a harumph out of that.
I didn't get a harumph out of this guy, I didn't get a harumph out of that guy, nobody.
Well, that guy's an idiot anyway, so we're not going to get a harumph out of him, so... He's pretty much kicked everything into touch with that one. My honest opinion, I cannot trust media websites anymore. Video game media websites like IGN, Game fucking Failures, or whatever the fucking site is. You can't trust them anymore because whatever news you get from them, it's going to be the same story but told in a different way, and it's usually never true.
Well, even that, I think that,
And anything that comes out of Jim Sterling's fucking ass crack is never going to be fucking true, so it doesn't make any sense.
Anything that, comes out of Jim Sterling's
Don't they do burrow rides to the base of the crack of his ass now?
No, that requires like a deep sea diving bell.
I think right now everybody's confusing his mouth and his ass crack. So you gotta go and they look alike, they smell alike, and the same kind of bullshit comes out both ends. So it's always confused.
If you was to compare Jim Sterling to an animal,
figure out which direction the brown-colored stuff goes.
Yeah, exactly.
Paper goes where?
That's one way of finding out. But
if it goes in.
Yeah, but the thing is, you know, you look at a baboon. Now, the baboon looks like it either fucking way, you know, whether his face is his ass and his ass is his face. At the end of the day, that's Jim Sterling in a fucking animal nutshell.
Well, the baboon looks like it's made out of Wonka's runts.
Yeah, he's just a fat baboon.
Oh.
Yeah, oh.
Well, I just want to never be in the same room as Jim Sterling because you know how gravity works.
Yeah, you know he's going to get the super graviton powerbomb through a table.
I know. I'll be like his first satellite, Chaos.
The satellite of chaos. And then he gets another one, the RazörFist, like that. And it goes like that.
Yeah, and you know it's. You know,
and then it suddenly turns into the 3D, and it's like badumph.
I've never been one to, say. I try not to latch on to these really, contemporary internet ideologies, in the vein of Alex Jones and all the conspiracy theorists. But this, I've never liked people that compare the Obama administration to the Hitler administration of the early 1930s. But it's stunning. And what's funny is I don't know, maybe I'm lost in this and I'm the only one who doesn't understand, but I just don't understand where taking away video games is going to help anybody. And
it's not going. They're not murders.
People are being used. People's votes are being used to further a political agenda. And I think there's this idea that somehow you can regulate safety.
Yeah, not only that, but I mean, okay, you hear the argument all the time. Do you need guns? Okay, you can have guns, but do you really need them? Do you really need it? Well, it's a good thing it's not called the Bill of Needs then.
Shit, right?
It's fucking bullshit. It's a Bill of Rights. It's your right as a citizen. It was one of the first things that was put into the Constitution.
Yeah,
it was clearly somewhat important. It was only the second fucking thing.
Yeah, it was right after saying what you want, because chances are if someone doesn't like what you say, you may have to, defend some shit.
Yeah, but I see the clear parallels between how they're trying to argue against you being able to own a gun and you being able to own a violent video game. The parallels are right there. They're using the same argument. They're saying, well, you can have it, but given the danger, shouldn't you really just forego the right to own it? It's like, and I guess the reason why people are less defensive of video games is are more defensive of video games is because at least unless you're like shitting yourself in a South Korean cyber cafe after a 48-hour StarCraft bender, video games aren't directly dangerous. You know what I mean?
Can I wade in with I'm not familiar with the whole people's feelings on the the lax of the gun laws or the increase of the gun laws, but at the end of the day, you don't have to own a gun. It's like you don't have to own a violent video game. So at the end of the day, you have a freedom of choice. Exactly. That's probably what RazörFist is trying to point out in such a elaborate way as he normally does. But you have that choice. You don't have to go out and say, "Oh, I'm going to buy a 357 Magnum and keep that in my fucking gun locker under my bed." You don't have to go out and buy that said Call of Duty game or Battlefield game or violent video game and keep that in a lockbox under your bed.
Well, you guys don't even have guns, do you?
No. He just said lockbox. Now he's sounding like Al Gore.
Uh-oh. Did you invent the internet?
I tried to make a serious point that's valid, and it gets thrown to the fucking dogs, honestly. No, but all I'm trying to say is that you've got these people have the choice to give these violent video games to their kids, right? Yeah, their kids are going to cry because they didn't get the latest Call of Duty game because their mates have got it. But at the end of the day, they give you this rating system for a reason. They don't give you this rating system because it's like, it's suggested for over 18s. It is for over 18s because of the fucking content that's on there. Regardless of whether it's for your friends or not.
Well, you know, we're getting some comments here on the side about the post and what RazörFist had to say and how politics figures into it. In fact, Caleb Bailey says that, I'm so glad RazörFist is a conservative. Rational people like RazörFist are far too uncommon. Caleb, what RazörFist said is not a conservative ideology. It's not a liberal ideology. It's a human ideology that I want what is mine, and anyone who stands in my way is wrong. Anyone who tries to, you know, deprive you of whatever it is that makes your life what it is wrong.
Exactly.
And, you know, and I don't see how that's really figures into politics. By the way, I'm running on the Libertarian ticket in 2016. So
good luck. You'll have our 5 votes, and that's it.
Well, that's all that Ralph Nader gets. So you know, I'm running for the Green Party. Anyway, yeah. So RazörFist, good point made. And everyone, like he said, nanny state's not that far from a father state. And
hello, I live in a nanny state. You know, we have health and safety coming out.
I know people who live in nanny. I know people who live in New York City.
I'm not saying New York City. Fucking hell.
Yeah, the toughest city in the world that doesn't have sugar.
Have you ever flown across the Atlantic and come to a little poxy, stupid, cold island called the United Kingdom?
Well, I was just talking about how New York's so tough, but they're not allowed to have soda.
No.
It's like a Mormon household.
We're not allowed to have slingshots.
Alpha Omegason looks so bored, doesn't he?
He does.
I'm just letting everybody do their thing.
He sat there like the archfiend, you know, like I've got my arms crossed like this, and I'm going to say something eventually, but these 3 arseholes won't let me say anything, so I'm just going to sit here tough like this with my arms folded.
He doesn't have to. He's that good.
I honestly feel like
he is that damn good.
Everybody pretty much has their political agenda written out, and they use a bunch of shit that's going on as leverage to get their way.
Yeah, it's a game they play with your life.
Yeah, here's my thing. I think everybody has the right to be able to fucking live their life as they choose, but the problem is that everybody wants to go and pretty much give you tunnel vision. Do not see outside these boundaries because we don't like what's outside of them. And you have some fucking cunt that's basically telling you that you're incapable of handling this, this, and this, and this is going to be good for you. There's ramifications if you play these things, and you do these things, and this is why. Here, let me give you a big fucking bullshit list as to how. RazörFist fucking put it into much more poetic and fucking more intelligible words than I possibly could, but he's right on pretty much every single fucking note, and I'll just be more blunt with it. She's a fucking cunt, and I'd punch her in the fucking face. So, that pretty much, and you know what, if I don't, there's somebody else who's going to want to, because the fact is I live in a fucking free country. Well, I'm sorry, I live in a country that has the illusion of being free.
Yeah.
And they want to keep taking that away. And you might think, you know, oh, you're kind of being overzealous and you're exaggerating because we're talking about just one little thing. Well, look at it like this. Do you really think it's just one little thing every single day? No, their political agenda is pretty much just writing things off every single fucking day so that they have complete control of your fucking lives. And video games just so happen to be the fucking, you know, taking center stage.
Yeah, they're the political football. That's what they are.
Yeah, I think that an appropriate analogy at this juncture really is that in scientific tests, you know, they've proven that if you take a frog and put it into boiling water, the frog will immediately jump out. However, if you put that same frog in cool water and gradually turn up the heat on a Bunsen burner, the frog will sit there and boil to death. And that's who you are. Yep. They can't take away big freedoms, so they'll do it little by little by little. Before you know it, you're just standing in the line, the DMV.
And they'll sneak that shit in when you're not looking and you're not paying attention. And when the media, which is pretty much everybody's outlet for being able to fucking figure out that this shit's going on, they'll hush and let the stuff go under the radar, but it affects you and you and you and you and you and you all in a big fucking way.
Yeah.
You know, and that's the sad truth of it. And the only way that you can say something, somebody might say, you know what, you motherfuckers, all 4 of you, all you're doing is bitching. That's all you're doing. That's all you're doing is bitching. You want to know what? At least I have the fucking goddamn testicular fortitude. Thank you, Mick Foley. At least I have the testicular fortitude to be
you should thank Gorilla Monsoon, too.
Well, okay, he gets props too, but at least I'm able to fucking man up. At least I'm fucking intelligent enough to be able to fucking do my homework and fucking read about this. And the fact is, somebody comes to my fucking front door and ever thinks that they're gonna fucking take away any of my fucking liberties, any of my freedoms, and anything like that. I assure you 100%, you're gonna have a fucking crowbar directly into your fucking skull, lodged there for a long time, and you're getting buried in my fucking basement.
Don't worry, thanks to Obamacare, he'll be able to get it out.
Not if I bury him under a lot of cement.
Dead men tell no tales.
Wow. Remember, it's technically not illegal if you don't get caught.
That's true.
So how about we take some questions?
Yeah, let's take some questions before we get out of here, because it's getting time to wrap things up. And we thank you for joining us on Pissing in the Live Stream. We hope to see you next time, but we're going to hit a few more questions here, and then we'll get out of here.
Hang on. Pissing in the Live Stream. Finale of season 3, because I think we need to start a fresh season, start afresh. You know, get a nice.
This is why we don't let you be in charge of anything.
I know, because I'm awesome, and you can't handle it.
That's the story, and you're sticking to it. We appreciate that.
Yes,
anyway, let me see here. There was a good question, and I lost it because this thing moves too goddamn fast. So, did anybody have a question they want to answer? Because I God damn it.
RazörFist is going to jump on his bed any moment, hence the readjusting of the camera.
Holy shit, dude, the questions are pouring the fucking
I know, I can't keep up with it.
Like, right now, just so everybody knows, like, I have 2 windows open, so I can actually read the questions, and I've got, you know, the fucking live stream going. And as soon as we said we were taking questions, it's on automatic update, and it was just like, like, it was like a waterfall of text just fucking bombarding the
downpour.
While we're seeing that, I'll see if I've got anything in the email. No, I don't actually. I don't have anything in the email, so sorry.
We're getting a lot of questions about the bombing in Boston.
Right. Well, I'm going to be the actual sympathetic arm of the podcast. I'm actually going to say that my thoughts go out to the families that have been affected by the bombing. I hope they catch the 19-year-old bastard that fucking caused it, because they've already shot his brother, so they need to shoot his fucking mate. You know, he's you know what I mean. They need to shoot him. So. Hopefully they get him. Hopefully they figure out that it was actually him.
I just really hope they stop calling this the Boston Massacre.
Yeah, it's not the Boston Massacre. It was the Boston accident.
More people will die this year due to complications from athlete's foot than did in
Yeah,
Boston.
but my real question is, how the fuck is this the 3rd successful terrorist attack on U.S. soil in the last 8 years? And Janet Napolitano, the head of the Department of Homeland Security, still has a fucking job. That's
because Homeland Security is a fucking veil.
And none of them were on a watch list. But
I'm going to show my ignorance here. What's the crack with Texas then? You know, with the fertilizer plant going up, is that an accident?
Well, fertilizer plants explode all the time. You just don't hear about it unless it happens after a bombing at a marathon.
Yeah.
All right. So it was an accident.
That happens all the time. You just don't hear about it because no one gives a fuck about Kentucky or Texas.
Well, I was just asking nice. I was asking an intelligent question.
Okay. Well,
yes,
I want to say thank
granted.
You.
Granted, it's a rarity.
Okay.
Granted, it's a rarity. But you know, I'm asking an intelligent question because I'm generally.
RazörFist yawn. I hope you're happy.
Well, that's okay. It's just because he can't stay up for more than three minutes without wanting to go to sleep.
Okay, Chris Holes has been bugging me. Chris Holtz has been bothering me, and he wants to know: do we like 9 Inch Nails or Tool?
I like Tool and I like 9 Inch Nails, but I don't like them together.
You don't like 9 Inch Nails in your Tool?
I think
I don't like 9 Inch Nails straight after Tool. I can only take one or the other. I can't take both one after another.
I just want to say that sounds really perverted.
What, 9 Inch Nails in your Tool?
No, he's like, I don't want 9 Inch Nails after a Tool. I can't take them one after another.
He's not much for sequence.
I don't care.
I really enjoy the one riff that Tool uses in every song. Really
down, 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 down. That's it.
Yeah.
No, I will say, Tool, I like listening to them when I'm stoned. I have not been stoned since 2006. We are in 2013. What, do the maths.
Well, good for you. I'm very happy.
And if you can all count that high, huzzah!
Huzzah! I also want to say thanks to Jeremiah Cohnweinen on Facebook for giving us a harumph. I want to thank you very much for that.
Actually, a lot of people in the comments did give us harumphs. And
we had a chorus of harumph. We had harumphuli.
Well, did I miss all the harumphs? See, I'm over on Facebook because you guys are over on the YouTube there. I feel like a jackass.
Can I just say a quick thank you? Somebody that sent me a message under the name of Bon Hagu. I feel like I should do a martial arts move on that, so I'll do that. There we go. He actually says the dude already got caught. Thank you very much for telling me that. And also he has a question. Favorite Final Fantasy game? None of them. There we go. Next question.
I'll throw out mine because it's RazörFist's favorite. Final Fantasy VII. I don't give a fuck if it's overrated. It's still my favorite. Despite the fact that games can get a lot of hate, I've actually had this conversation pretty frequently. If a game is overrated, a game gets a lot of hate and all the other shit, it doesn't actually make you bad for liking it. Everybody likes games for their own fucking reason. I got FF7 when it came out. I loved the shit out of it, and it really did help usher me into the genre a lot more, like a lot of other people out there. I won't lie. But it is a really good game, but I will say that writing-wise, Final Fantasy VI is vastly superior. But Final Fantasy VII just so happens to be my favorite. It just is. I love it.
It's baby's first RPG is what it is.
Well, I will...
it's the Fisher-Price version of the Final Fantasy series.
I will say I do fall into the category of Final Fantasy VII is my first RPG, but before you start laughing at me, it's not my favorite. It is far from my favorite. Since I've actually had a look at
his favorite is 10-2 for the record, just 10-2.
no, that's RazörFist. That's RazörFist.
He likes dressing up in girly outfits. It's very
well. He likes the whole dress up thing. I'm dressing up as RazörFist, yes, but he likes the whole dressing up thing. Anyway, my favorite RPG, and this is, you can quote me on this, is Final Fantasy 2 or 4. It's cliche, a lot of people like it, but I like it because I discovered it in later life and I can understand the story. A lot of people played it when it was fresh and they were like 3 or 4 and they were playing it and they're like, yay, this is cool. I like it because I like Cecil.
I'm going to say something that's completely not Final Fantasy related. Sainted, with that headset on, you look like you should be casted onto Jack Ryan Radio. I just want to throw that out there.
Jack Ryan Radio!
Hey, you need to be grinding on some shit and then, do some crazy kick and then spray paint Sainted Magnus on some shit. That'd be awesome.
I've got it tattooed on my arms. I've got it tattooed on my arms.
Yeah, dude, you can do that at the end.
Guys, the last time Sainted got around paint, it didn't end too well.
No, it didn't actually. No, I agree.
Oh, no, it ended great for this podcast, man. We've had a joke that can run for years.
Yeah.
Anyway, we're gonna do one more.
Can I just reveal then? I'm gonna reveal.
We don't care.
It's his dude. You have to make sound.
You have to make sound.
I am nearly. My hair is nearly long enough for a Head and Shoulders advert.
Yeah, so. You look like the Repo Man.
my hair is nearly long enough for a Head and Shoulders advert. I'm getting there. There.
That's good. And, don't forget to get yours of a Hate-Bit shampoo. We got one more. We're going to get out of here. Question for RazörFist from my good friend Lewis Williams on Facebook. He says, do you have high hopes for TEEF, T-E-E-F, or 2 E's? He says, I fear the game will be more dumbed down than the removal of moss arrows, which makes me think the game's sound variation more simple, and there's no fucking way I'll be buying the game unless they get Stephen Russell back.
Yeah, I think... I still think a lot of what I've seen about Thief 4 is pretty positive. A lot of it looks really, really good. I am a little bummed about a few things being taken out. Not a fan of moss arrows being removed. They said rope arrows are back, but they haven't showed them. And they showed a grappling hook, so I'm pretty sure they're not actually in the game, which would kind of fucking blow.
I want the longsword back, to be honest.
It's sounding a little like it's going to be predominant. Well, I mean, they're talking about this really concerns me. I'm talking about these running segments that sound like
quick time event. Sorry,
they sound like the newer Need for Speed game with basically the running quick time event kind of a thing.
Need for Speed, the run. I know exactly the one you're on about.
Exactly.
It's their way of making the game cinematic and interactive at the same time, i.e., making it boring.
Yeah, and then they've shown us there are literally the worst nightmare of every fan in the universe. There are third-person contextual takedowns with the fucking blackjack. And there's literally a screenshot of him.
The blackjack is a fucking bat.
It's a screenshot of him hitting the guard in the nuts with his blackjack. Like,
what?
So some of the things really just blow my
mind. I'm sorry, I'm having a brain aneurysm here, but since when did Garrett become such a thug? Garrett was... You know yourself, and a lot of Thief fans will know themselves, that Garrett is he's actually the model video game character. He's the one that actually, if he's going to take you down, he takes you down with decency at least.
Yeah, and the whole thing just like, but most of all, like overall, it looks okay. They already told us the light gem is coming back, so there's going to be a little more subtlety in how the light and shadow stealth works. So it's going to be more like the old games in that sense. But there are just little things that worry me. Focus mode continues to sound like shit.
Focus mode sound. To be honest, focus mode sounds like it's just going to be another Square Enix add-on like they did with fucking Deus Ex, and they've done it with fucking Hitman Absolution, as you've mentioned quite profusely, that the fact they've added that feature. And if they're going to add that to Thief, it's just going to destroy the whole reason why you'd want to play a Thief game, because it's all about the stealth, sneaking through the level without actually killing us all. It's stealing the treasure in the most...
And they're saying that, for the record, and that's part of the reason why I'm still optimistic about the game. They're still saying that the game, you're going to be able to sneak through from 100%. You're never going to have to hit anyone. You're never going to have to knock anyone out or kill anyone. The game's never going to force you to do that. So in that sense, they've got optimism for for me at least. But, other things, focus mode. Stephen Russell being taken out is actually a core element of game design that's been taken out. It's not just a voice. It's something that affects the game from top to bottom. And
as you mentioned in your shameless plug recent fucking video, that he was actually one of the most integral parts of the first two games.
Yeah.
It kind of makes fucking sense that he should be in this fourth game.
He really... I mean, because when you consider that the two main characters in the games are not Garrett and whoever the bad guy is, because that person rarely shows up. It's really Garrett and the guard, right?
Yeah.
And Stephen Russell voices both of them. So really the core conflict in the game and the core AI mechanic, how the player interacts with the AI, is directly related to this one man's vocal performance. And without it, it would be completely different, and will be completely fucking different. So you can't just carve this one element of the game out and expect it to be the same. Oh, we've just changed a voice, cry me a river. No, you're actually taking a pillar of the game experience out, and it affects a lot more than just sound. Which, incidentally, sound is really important too.
Yeah. Well, let's put it this way: it's like playing a Legacy of Kain game or a Soul Reaver game and taking the Soul Reaver sword out of the whole game, basically. It's that same thing, because the Soul Reaver sword it's part of the lore, it's an integral part of the whole storyline. It's the same thing with... Yeah, I know we've got Elvis and Tits McGee over there, but... I've totally lost my train of thought now.
I can't imagine why.
That was it. They're taking out Stephen Russell's voice. He's pretty much an integral part of the whole universe. You know, he, like you mentioned, he does the guard, Kamehameha, Hadouken, yeah, whatever. Okay, yeah, he does. You know, he does those voices. He makes that. He does actually, in a way, make that game. Because, as you mentioned before, you know, it's the whole duality of his voice acting. You know, he's basically, you're the player character. He does the voice for that. He's the guard character. He's done the voice for that. And it's, if he doesn't meld together, which is what, you know, his performance in those games were fantastic, it just doesn't feel like what a Thief game would actually be.
Yeah, absolutely. And then the new guy, you know, people keep avoiding leveling personal insults at him. I'm not going to personally insult him, but I am going to say his performance sounds like shit. What we've heard of it. He doesn't sound anywhere near Steven Russell's league, and he's doing a bad impersonation of him, really. And it's like, why would you? It's like. Wait,
are you talking about Blaze Bailey?
It's like choosing Sierra Mist over Sprite. Like, what the fuck are you doing?
Well,
no, I don't want Coca-Cola. I want
RC
Walmart brand. I want Dr. Zip. You know what I mean? Like,
you want Roller Cola, you know, 3 gallons for £2.50.
I don't want Dr. Pepper. I want Dr. Thunder.
Mr. Pibb.
Yeah. I'm just going to say one last thing on the whole.
Thank God.
The voiceover thing. If you just give me 5 seconds to get my fucking words out before you pass comment, Jesus. Anyway, no, I think with the whole the new voice actor, he isn't as bad as what you would expect, but he doesn't have the same grip as what Stephen Russell would do as Garrett. You know, maybe as a guard I can understand, but
doesn't have grip. Are you saying he's loose or?
Yeah, he is a bit loose. You know, he's a bit runny. We'll say.
He's a little hot dog.
I know where you're going with this, so I'm just going to go with it and flow. So anyway.
All right, please.
Razor.
Anyway, thank you very much, Hater Nation. That has been Pissing in the Live Stream. We thank you for joining us. You guys are fucking fabulous. Joining me, as always, Alpha Omega Sin.
Oh yeah, brother, it's the Alpha Omega Sin, and I'm here to go and say one other thing.
I have to go and do a Metalocalypse impression real quick. Murderface. Alright, I can't do it right now. My voice won't fucking do it. Oh well, I tried anyway, but I was asked to a whole bunch. Anyway, thank you all for showing up to this bullshit. I'm sorry that it's ending right now, but, you know, there's always next time. So thank you a bunch for showing up and saying all the random fucking stuff that you have. And as always, nerds, nerdettes, and gamers, game the fuck on!
The Ravenous RazörFist!
Thank you all for joining us. God fucking speed.
And the Sellout Magnus.
Anyway, I'm going to be honest. Thank you very much for showing up. You know, thank you very much for fucking listening to my verbal diarrhea or whatever you want to fucking call it. Obviously, I'd like to thank the other 3 idiots that I've been a part of with this live stream. He's swearing at me now on the screen, but I genuinely like to thank these guys because the Hate-Bit podcast wouldn't be anything without these magnificent bastards, so give themselves a round of applause.
And we thank you very much. You guys are great. We have been the Hate-Bit Podcast. By the way, my name's Yale Chaos, and you can catch me each and every Monday on Monday Night Chaos. And I'd also like to ask each and every one of you to join us in the fight against CISPA. Thank you very much. We'll see you next time. Later!
Hang on, we need to do the theme tune.